Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment, the show that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. And by the way, your eyes do not deceive you. Some of us are not as illuminated from a lighting standpoint as it usually would be. And I am starting off today's show with who is that? The Batman?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good figurine. Where did you get it?
I honestly don't know.
That's an interesting, we'll get to the bottom of it. Peter right now has a garage sale, so he has a lot of his crap that he'll be putting up online, so if you feel so inclined, it may be up your alley. Anyway, I have prepared, as I am going to be interrupted yet again by whatever he is pulling up. Okay, here we go.
On Nintendo DS, $8.99.
Okay.
Wait, for real? How, is that game good?
I enjoyed it when I was however old I got it. I played it.
I remember having a Pirates of the Caribbean game for the Wii, and it was
I
fine.
had at World's End.
Was that the one I had? I don't think I did. I can't remember. But yeah,
I still have it. It's
I was just curious.
So if anyone is watching or listening and is interested, well, just put in the comments below, and guess Peter will get in touch with you. Anyway, the point
signed by Alexis Soto.
The point of where we're beginning today is to give Peter Martinez a bit of a demonstration, since he is apparently a bit of a vampire, and he seemingly is opposed to any kind of lighting whatsoever. And despite my best efforts to get him to use the actual ring light that I have, of course, provided for him, but refuses to actually use. Here is the difference if you're watching this on camera, what it looks like. Here is one light, and then here is another, and look how much better things look once you actually have lighting into the screen and the picture. Now look how beautiful this picture looks in contrast to the dark, hideous creature that is on the other end of that screen.
I think a lost artistry of black and white filmmaking.
This is a podcast, my friend.
Okay.
This is a podcast.
Okay.
This is a podcast, and you cannot combat this whatsoever. I mean, look how much better this looks as opposed to what it was previously. And you could have that too, and you choose not to. And I wanted to address that because I'm sure there are people who are watching or listening who are like, why do they allow this person to show up and appear this way? Well, I can't control his actions. I did everything I can, and yet this is where we are.
If you agree with Alexis Soto, do so in the comments.
Oh, please, of course.
If there is not one comment put, then I think that will definitively show it's an unnecessary topic of discussion.
No, I think it's a very necessary topic of discussion because I feel like
we're
we should all do
we're
that.
leaving it to the people. We're being a democracy right here.
That's a cop-out right there, honestly. Okay. Because all that does is removes any kind of need for you to actually do anything because this is how you would prefer. By the way, this is how he lives. This is how he lives. He doesn't believe in lighting whatsoever, not even one little bit. Anyway, I'm Alexis, and I'm Alexis Soto. Oh my god. Alexis, joined by Peter Martinez, obviously the individual who I have been, arguing against already for a couple of minutes already on this podcast. I am joined also by David Francisco, our lovely producer here, who is the one responsible for keeping a tight ship. And so we'll do the best we can to run through it as smoothly as we can, obviously. Today, of course, with Red Spotlight, when we're talking about everything happening in the world of movies, we've got a couple of reviews coming your way. You know, it has not gone unnoticed that to this day, Peter really hasn't had an opportunity to really discuss Superman. It's been almost a month, and still, because of one reason or the other, he still has not been able to actually give a review of that movie. We're going to do that. Of course, we'll get into some Fantastic Four-ness, which more specifically involves its disappointing box office results and what that may mean for the future of the MCU and comic book movies. And then also, I believe mergers are also in the air, and that also is terrible news if you are an employed individual in this industry. We got some layoffs coming to a company near you. All that and more today on Red Spotlight number 511. That's right. This is August 6, 2025. Also, this is the good opportunity to say happy birthday to our very good friend, Nettie Valdez. This is her 30th birthday. So congratulations for making it 3 decades. I believe somebody here is going to turn 30 next year, so we'll keep our eyes and ears out for that once that happens.
30 great years.
By the way, this is a good reference to the life of Chuck. There was I saw on the comments for Peter has this love-hate, mostly hate relationship going on with Perry Nemiroff, this internet personality that talks about movies. On her platform, she has this show called For Your Consideration when they talk about like films in discussion for awards. She loved The Life of Chuck, and she was hoping against all hope that it would like stay alive in the discussion. And then Jeff Snyder, who is a self-admitted asshole, and he is the best of the assholes, literally called it the death of Chuck, with how little chance it actually has of even being remembered when it comes to the awards field towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it too much since that movie came out, but like it's been over a month at this point. What was the point, Neon, of buying that movie and then dumping it in June?
I have no idea why they even purchased the Life of Chuck.
I would have rather Netflix have just purchased it, because I feel like at least more people would have watched it if it was on Netflix at this point.
There probably would have been more of a discussion, yeah. Which, I mean, Neon mostly does good by their movies, but this was a really weird approach to the film.
And this was the winner of the People's Choice Award at the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, and usually those movies not only get nominations, but they usually end up winning a couple of awards. Like, the previous winners all got nominations or wins, so it's like, what did you do? It's really on you at this point, and it's a shame. But I will say, though, I don't know. I think they're allergic to Mike Flanagan. I mean, the Emmys certainly didn't go for any of his amazing, legendary shows, did they? So why would the Academy be any different with his movies? So it maybe wouldn't have worked out, but at least if it had come out in November, I think more people would have watched it. Anyway, it's on digital now for what that's worth. Anywho, last week we talked about real quick how these mergers need to stop happening. You know, last week we talked about how Warner Brothers Discovery was just like separating itself into Warner Brothers and to Discovery, and then as a bonus to their executives, let's lay off 10% of our workforce. And it's like, think about this. In the last 2 to 3 years, they were approved by the government to merge, which that initial merger cost thousands and thousands of jobs. And then all these years later, through so many canceled projects and decisions by Zaslav that have ruined the industry even more, now they're separating back into their original entities and laying off more people to boot. And you have to think to yourself, how is this legal? Like, I was talking about this with Peter the other day. It's like, and Peter, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. This just comes across like a legal Ponzi scheme to me. Like, they're making so much money and destroying so many livelihoods, and for what?
Yeah. This is actually something that happens a lot in like the gaming industry. I don't know if maybe David sees more of this, but you'll see a game come out. It's like game of the year, super successful, everyone loves it, sells a shit ton, and then they'll close that gaming studio or do they're hit with like massive layoffs a few months later. And it's a story that just keeps happening and happening and happening. Yeah, I do think it is tied to this like ever growing need to always grow. If that's one
corporate
issue
mentality
with
mindset.
Yeah, it's like each quarter needs to be larger than the last quarter, which needs to be larger. Just succeeding isn't good enough. There needs to be growth. And I'm surprised you never played the clip. You probably did at one point. The interview, I can't remember which artist it is, but he talks about, you've probably
James Gray?
seen it. About
Was it James Gray?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I have it somewhere. Where he's talking at a press conference?
No. Let me.
Is it, or is it when you're talking about like? Is it this clip that you're talking about? Peter?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played it. Would you like me to play it?
No. You don't have to play
Okay.
again. I just wanted to, for the sake of purposes, see if you remember it. Because
Yes.
that clip really touches on, again, this idea of like one blockbuster or two blockbusters a year isn't enough, you know? Because before, that's the way the movie industry was. Like, you'd have some like massive big movies, one or two, but then you'd have a lot of like mid-budget to low-budget movies you'd throw out there. Some every once in a while, some would be a hit. It'd be a runaway success, and that's awesome. Some of them made no money. And you know, every once in a while, you'd roll the dice on a bigger film to get a little bit more money, and with that money, you're able to finance, you know, some smaller films, right? It was like this really beautiful ecosystem, and but it's like, well, again, it's this idea of growth. Well, if I release two blockbusters a year and they're a hit, then I make more money. But if I release three, then I make even more money. If I release four, I make even more money, right? To the point where it's like they're only releasing blockbusters in movie theaters, right? But then what happens is when those things fail, again, too big to fail, when those movies start to fail, you have nothing, right? It's there is no more movie studio. Um, yeah, it's just shitty business practices. It's not thinking about the longevity of the art or filmmaking or even just your business, right? It's about thinking, I need to make next quarter. I need to the shareholders. I have a shareholder meeting, you know, in a couple of weeks. That's the kind of thinking that leads to this. And I think that's really where the push for AI is coming from. Because I really do think that this thinking is, imagine how much higher the returns are going to be when we don't have to pay for a writer, when we don't have to pay visual effects people, when we don't have to pay for lighting, or actors. We don't have to pay for actors. Maybe there's a couple of movie stars we just pay like a one-time licensing fee in perpetuity to use their likeness. And in their mind, it's like they're finally achieving their goal. Like, how do we remove people from business, basically? That's the ultimate goal of a businessman. Cut out all the quote-unquote fat from the process. And I think that's why there's such a massive push. Yeah, it's gross. It's bad.
Could that also be why they've kind of just thrown all in with Donald Trump? And people want to say, what does he have to do with any of this? Well, I mean, I've been saying for weeks now, why is it that Donald Trump is the president that gets away with whatever he wants? Not just from his usual crowd, but from, I mean, I saw a video today, Tim Cook of Apple was like awarding Donald Trump something in the Oval Office. Like all these CEOs have like, you know, they've like cuddled up against him or with him actually in bed, and they're like just like doing whatever they want, you know?
The only thing they worship is the bottom line and the bottom dollar. And Republicans have always been the party of business, right? Remove any and all restrictions for a business, let them run rampant, do whatever they want. The reason a lot of businesses would get behind Democrats is because socially, they were more popular, right? Like, they dominate. The left, anyway, dominates socially, politically in this country. Up until this last election, every election before that, except for the one directly following 9/11, which I mean, and understandably 9/11, for the past, 30 years, Democrats had won the popular vote, right? And as a business, you have to cater to the largest populace as you can to get back. They're always just afraid of like a social blowback to stuff like that. But if they could, they wouldn't give a shit, right? They would go all in on whatever makes them the most money. And I think they feel very open and able to not care about that kind of stuff anymore. Which should scare people that are within the crosshairs of someone like the Trump government. Yeah, it's bad. There's no light at the end of the tunnel.
So that's where we are, and I know it's a lot of happening, but I do want to. I mean, look, all of this is happening at the same time. Last week we talked about two things involving AI that are pretty atrocious. One in which that Amazon and Disney are going to lend their IP to shepherd this new service called Showrunner, which is this AI streaming thing, which they're in a trial right now. Which basically, if anybody subscribes to it, they can like put in a prompt and it'll crap out a show for you or a season or episodes. And I said last week, what a dumbass decision that would be of epic proportions. And Disney and Amazon are like, yeah, let's go ahead and help them put us out of business. Mm-hmm. And then also, this thing, and you have not had the chance to also comment on this either, The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, using AI enhancements to kind of like blow it up on there and bringing some performances back from the dead and all that stuff.
That one's hard to get angry at, just how funny it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's so terrible. Mm-hmm. Like seeing the actual images and actually seeing it in motion, it's disgusting. Very disgusting. I would say the most disappointing part of that whole thing is just the fact that fucking Ben Mankiewicz.
What the hell was he doing there? How did he get wrangled in? His presence, even though people don't know, Ben Mankiewicz is the face of Turner Classic Movies, and him being wrangled into that gives validity to these people, these AI people.
Yeah. Especially when they're butchering a classic film. Yeah, and he got raked over the coals for that, and he really should. He really, really should. Because of all people, he should know better. You know,
he really should. And I also just feel like people are being naive for the ones that wanted to look. If this was like a one-time experience, this is a theme park attraction, basically, if they were to do this. But the problem is, you know how these executives are. They're not looking at this like, oh, what a cool thing. They're looking at this like, ooh, now we're cooking here. Now we can use this to screw more people over.
And I hate this thing of like, oh, well, you know, it's here. What are you going to do about it?
Oh my God.
And it's like, I don't know, have a fucking backbone, have morals, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was so difficult to have. Like,
apparently it is, because I mean, Jon Stewart himself on his show, the last time I saw him, the last 2 weeks, he was raking all these corporations, all these law firms, these universities over the coals for basically just bowing down and kissing the ring of the presidency in a way that no one has ever seen before. You know, all of those people were being like sued, and for what?
To be fair, again, I guess it's because I just don't expect
that much.
I don't expect anything from companies besides to care about making more money. So it's like, yeah, they'd kiss the ring of Hitler. And I've said this before, like if Hitler had won the war, all of the executives that worked so hard to fucking fight him and stuff like that during the war, they'd bend down, kiss the ring, go like, yeah, okay, whatever. Businesses are like wild animals, you know. They only care about their next meal. Basically.
Remember when Star Wars actually showed that in one of their movies and people went ape shit over it because it was on a casino planet?
Oh, yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
It's trying to communicate the fact that like rich people who are going to be profitable no matter what, and war is meaningless to them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and yet people were like, right? How dare you say that? Like, what the hell?
I think they were more mad about horses? I can't remember their company.
I guess some people were saying that it was like too Harry Potter because there were horses. There were that the creatures were out of Harry Potter.
Okay, I guess. A weird criticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad. It's
just to give you more. No, I mean, it already has. I mean, last year we talked about on the last show, but last year Inside Out 2, before the film became the most successful animated movie of all time, Disney made sure to lay off those particular Pixar animators that worked in that movie. That way they wouldn't have to pay them anymore. So Disney always does this. And then also just today it was announced that Hulu is now about to be murdered and whatever is left over is going to be absorbed into Disney. Now, Disney, yes, did spend years staking out all the ownership in Hulu, and yes, this is always going to happen. But again, my thing is this: how many articles that were written today about this news at all mentioned how many people's jobs were going to be fucking gutted because of this now decision to, even though they're owned by the same person, now we're going to be one. And all that means is now we don't need half of the people. And no one is going to lead with this, I'm sure.
What's going to happen is they're going to fire a shit ton of people. Half of the kind of shows and films and just a lot of the art that they would put on Hulu isn't going to get made anymore, because they're like, it's the same thing that happened at Fox. When Fox got pulled into the Disney division, so many of the kind of films that Fox would release year to year just stopped being released. You get your few franchises that have always been successful for Fox that still get released. But stuff like Bad Times at the El Royale ain't ever getting released by Fox again. So that's going to happen. And then at first, Disney's going to be like, oh, yeah, maybe like a slight price increase. Like, no, or maybe we're not going to change. It's just no price increase. It's all going to be the same. Maybe they'll say something like that, or just a slight one. And then give it short amount of time, maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe less. And then the price is going to double, because technically it's 2 apps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. It sucks too, because I think Hulu's a much better app than the Disney app. I spend so much more time on Hulu.
Yeah, for sure.
There's nothing to do on Disney Plus. I mean, what are you gonna do? Watch old things that you've already seen before? And all the new, look, if we're gonna grade Disney Plus as far as original programming is concerned, they've been undoubtedly the worst. And a lot of the stuff that they've made for that platform in the last 2 years, because Bob Iger was like, well, we're kind of leaving a lot of money on the table. Like, for example, this week, Freakier Friday comes out in theaters, and a lot of reviews, while positive, were saying, yeah, but it looks like a Disney Plus movie. Yeah, I wonder why, because it was made for Disney Plus. They just realized, oh, we made this for cheap, but we can get a lot more out of this if we just put it in theaters, as if that made more money, which of course theaters always make more money. But the point is, that is the quality of Disney Plus. Remember how bad Disenchanted was, or how forgettable Hocus Pocus 2 was? They are some of the cheapest movies ever made. But you know what the thing is? The sad thing is this: if they had put out Disenchanted or Hocus Pocus 2 in theaters, that probably would have actually made money. But that's the point, is like they make them so cheap and they look so ugly too. That's the quality of Disney Plus. And that's not even getting it. I mean, Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake, was also supposed to be a Disney Plus original, and you saw how that cheap that looked. And don't anyone
audiences
forget.
Didn't give a shit.
I know, right? But the ones that know, well, I think the real bad Disney Plus movie that I think is the barometer for which they all should be graded on is that Home Alone remake.
Oh,
which of course looked the worst. I mean, look,
no one fucking saw that.
No one's, but you know what, Peter, you should give yourself the most amount of credit, because you're the one that saw this coming from the very, very beginning, many years ago, when Kyle and I were trying to like talk ourselves into thinking that, oh, Disney can do a lot of really cool things with these properties on Disney Plus. And you are the one that was like, they're just going to do the same old Disney Channel bullshit they always do and not really make anything interesting or new. You have been proven correct every step of the way when it comes to this merger, when it comes to the Fox acquisition, when it comes to Disney Plus being a thing. And I just cannot, I mean, and it's insane, honestly, like just how to a T you called it.
I actually think I thought too highly of Disney Plus. Because
was it because
Disney
WandaVision
Channel
came out?
Disney Channel put out better movies.
Yeah.
If you go back and see those original Disney Channel movies, there's so much more effort and love
Halloween
put
Town,
into them.
even though Halloween Town's a cheap movie, but it's a lot of love and caring to it.
But there's a lot of, people gave a shit when they made that movie. It's and that's not like nostalgia, because I've gone back and seen quite a few and be like, oh, I remember watching this as a kid. It's like all I remember is the fucking title, but let me rewatch it. Remember Under Wraps, or My Mom Has a Date with a Vampire, There's a lot of the
or their biggest franchise,
Eddie's Cook-Off.
All of those are really cool movies, honestly. Johnny Capohala. There's a lot of ones to really talk about. The one that you probably don't care for as much, but I really love, was High School Musical. But that was their biggest franchise. But you know why High School Musical was a big success? Because they actually hired a real director, Kenny Ortega, who was the director of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, and that was a straight to
that's a TV movie.
Straight to TV movie, right?
Until the third one when they upped the budget, clearly. But
yeah, and then obviously, it was such a massive hit that they were like, let's throw it in theaters. But you look at these streaming movies and they're fucking ugly. Like they look like a YouTube production. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's bad.
Honestly, it really is. I mean, I'll say this. I'm hopeful Freakier Friday is okay, but I'm not expecting anything good because this is how it is with these movies. I'm happy to see Lindsay Lohan acting again. I would like to have her back in movies if she could do that, because
she's to pay for that new face.
Okay, I mourn the loss of Hulu because Hulu has, I think, delivered a lot of really good shows.
Literally, I was watching it right now just while I was doing some stuff. They did a revival of King of the Hill, which King of the Hill is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm almost finished with it. I'm like nine episodes deep out of 10. Fantastic.
Honestly,
fantastic.
King of the Hill, I've never seen King of the Hill all the way through, but I've seen a lot of episodes, obviously, when it would play, and I've always liked the show. But I've seen a lot of clips already of the new season on TikTok, obviously, because I'm always on there, and I was like, oh my god, this is really good. Like, this is actually a really good season, and they did the thing that all the other shows in that category refused to do. They actually moved forward and they aged up some of the characters and got more mileage out of the story going on. Like this.
No, the new dynamics are awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
I've never been interested in King of the Hill, but the clips that I'm seeing of like the revival of it, I'm like, this actually looks really funny, and am I gonna want to watch King of the Hill now or what?
It is funny. King of the Hill has always been funny though. It is a funny show.
You should go back and watch the original series. It's funny. It was one of those shows where as a kid, a lot of kids, because it would play, they didn't really know what to do with it, so they would play it during like kids shows. And
remember,
then, like,
Fox was in charge, and Fox was always pretty like weird with how to put shows
they never knew what they had.
Malcolm in the Middle luckily lasted for like 7 years, but they always like moved that show around. Futurama, they always moved it around and didn't know what they had with it.
They not delete it. They'd cancel it, and then it's one of those where I'll notice a lot of kids say like, yeah, it kind of used to annoy me because it was like an adult show, but it would run like after some kids show, and it's like, I don't want to watch this. But then they'd go like, going back and watching it now, it's like the funniest thing ever. It's such a great show.
The thing about King of the Hill, I think the least.
It doesn't have to be animated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't really.
It's like, because there's nothing. Even the animation is there's nothing cartoony about it. It's all played very straight. You could have had actors do everything within the show. I'm glad they did it, 'cause I love the voice actors, but
they're really good actors. The original run was 13 seasons, and apparently Fox ended up canceling it, so I don't even know if they even had like a original finale of sorts.
It wasn't supposed to be the finale, but it worked as a finale. Okay. The last episode, it was a really nice episode. It was a bonding episode between Hank and Bobby. And then this one's so perfect because it's like 8 years later. Bobby's all grown up. He's running a restaurant. Hank
8 years
retired.
Later in the King of the Hill universe, because it's been like 15 years.
It's been like 15
for us. Yeah.
but it's weird because the original show, they never aged up in the original show, but it went for like 15 seasons, right?
Yeah.
So it would do that thing where it would keep up with the times and references, but they wouldn't age. You know what I mean? But now they have aged, but it's like all the references are to like 2024 or 2025 because they directly reference the pandemic. They say, yeah, Bill hasn't been outside since 2020.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a weird moving thing. It's just kind of, it's always just sort of commented just on politically where the world is in that moment. And I really, the first episode will get you. It's probably my least favorite episode, but by the end it's like, okay, like I get what they're doing. Because it's Hank and Peggy are back because he went to Saudi Arabia.
See that right there? There's a lot of table setting they have to do in that first episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of table setting. But it's about them coming back to America and realizing like the world has kind of moved on around them.
Even in their small town.
Yeah, even in their small town, there's so much changes. And like silly things like what's in all gender bathroom and stupid stuff like that.
I saw that.
Are we all genders?
Yeah. And it's like, why does that kid still have a mask? Oh, he has anxiety. He's like, kids these days. And it's just a lot of shit like that. And they're thinking about just going back to Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia, for the Americans, because where he worked with, has like a 1950s style, old-fashioned sort of American compound where all the Americans that they employ lived. So they were very happy. And they're like, is this even like America anymore? Like, it's so different to us. And I'll spoil it because it's a really good ending because it really encapsulates what King of the Hill is all about. They're going to the store and they just start talking to those Girl Scouts that sell cookies out front. And he's like, they start off kind of like, oh, like what? Is it gluten free? Is it gonna cost $200? Like all this kind of like sassing the kids, and they're like, well, no, it's. The little girls are like, no, it's regular cookies, It's and they said like they start sort of warming up to them, and then he's like, oh yeah, my favorites were always Samoans, and then she's like, well, they're not called Samoans anymore, they're called some other name, just to be nice to like Samoans, because it's a nicer name. And Hank thinks about it for a second. He's like, well, that's a good change. It's nice to be nice. Wow. Yeah, and it's this thing of realizing change isn't always bad, while the world may have changed, the people here are still the people that they love, here in Arlen, Texas, even if the world's changing around them. And they decide like, no, we're gonna stay because they love America, they love Texas, and they love the people here.
Unlike Texas politicians.
Yeah. So it's a really awesome show.
By the way, is Ted Cruz still in Cancun?
Is Ted Cruz what?
Still in Cancun? He's always in there.
I just finished episode 9. Episode 9 might be my favorite.
There's a lot of good moments that I've seen. Even just like, I'm sure they put the pedal to the metal on the culture shocks for Hank in the first couple of episodes. And I've seen some clashes with Bobby because there's been some clips I've saw when he first got to Bobby's restaurant and he's like, all right, let's go check out that propane. And I'm like, oh my God, he's not using propane. And then the other thing, it's like when Bobby is like, this beer is not fruity enough. And it's like, since I've never wanted fruity taste in my beer.
Him and Peggy try to go to like those like artisanal what do you call it, like bars, and they're like they're like those fruity drinks, and they're like, this doesn't even taste like beer. Why is it chunky? Like they're like tasting all these other ones, and yeah, there's that clash because they each make their own beer. And he takes it to his friends, out in the alley, and it's just a classic old-fashioned beer, very boring, but they love it. And then Bobby makes his, which is a little fruitier. and him and his friend love it, and they're just sort of clashing in that way.
That's such a really good dynamic to explore, and I'm glad that the show made an effort to not just come back and leave things as is. And obviously, all of what we're talking about kind of speaks for itself at this point. I also want to say, I'm sure I've seen plenty of homages to other cast members who passed away since the time they've been off. Do they return to Luann, or is she just going to be not in the show because the voice actress passed away?
As far as I've seen, she's like the one character that hasn't been
recast
or even addressed. I think they have like a photo.
There's a picture of her, yeah.
Yeah. So she's probably, they're going to do another season. So they might I don't think they're going to recast her. But they'll come and address it, I think, eventually.
Yeah.
But everyone else they kind of recast.
Because there's been I'm sure it's been 15 years, plenty of cast members died. So there was a lot. And then there was also some other issues there too. So look, go watch King of the Hill. I'm probably gonna watch the whole season too, because at this point I've seen a lot. People are talking a lot about it, so it's like, so go watch that. A couple of things to get through here, and there's a lot, and I'm just trying to decide what to do next here. We got a couple of trailers. There was a new Predator trailer that came out of Comic-Con that caught everybody's attention. Peter and David, did you like it?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, I really liked it. We got just a little bit more of the story, more of Elle Fanning's character. I knew right away that she was some kind of robot and all that, but as to what exactly synthetic robot.
There's this oh no, I'm sorry, I'm already talking. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was saying there's this fan theory that like Alien, people say like, oh, Alien and Predator, same universe, but they'll also throw in like Blade Runner as being in that same universe as well.
I've seen that, yeah.
Which of course it's not going to line up perfectly, but I think that's kind of a cool fuzzy headcanon to think of it a little bit in that.
What a fucked up universe to live in.
Right? It's like the perfect fucked up sci-fi future. Everything terrible.
That's cool. But yeah, the trailer looks good. Very curious how the dynamic is going to work with the Predator itself going to be the main character and all that. It looks nice. I like Prey, and I'm excited. I still haven't seen Killer of Killers yet, but I need to.
I think I don't know. I feel like I watched parts of Alien versus Predator last year, but not the whole thing. Probably around the time that Alien Romulus came out, just because. But I clearly didn't watch the whole thing because maybe. But I'm like, I tried watching Prey 2 times, and that's one of the few movies that everybody loves that I just can't click with. I watch it and I'm like, it's all right. I don't care about
succeed, can you?
What? Okay. Anyway, but I think everybody had the same reaction in that, and I think the people at Hulu and Disney were like kicking themselves for like, why didn't we just put this in theaters?
It should have been.
Now, to be fair, at that time, maybe it wouldn't have done as great, and maybe this new Predator movie that's going to come out in November will do better now because of how many people watched Prey. There's maybe an argument there, but I'm happy to see that this is going to be a theater play and not a streaming play. So that's good news in the right direction. And hopeful to see what happens after.
I would say, I think you might be more into this one because it's definitely more into the sci-fi-ness. Yeah. And they literally have a Weyland Yutani synthetic. I think they have a lot. I think every human character they show isn't a human. I think that's interesting. They're all synthetics, which maybe they're sent by Weyland Yutani.
The VFX all look pretty good, right? From what we saw in the trailer.
They all look pretty darn good to me. I think it's such a cool idea. It's such a nerdy nerd idea. You know,
it really
it's
is
the kind of shit that used to be regulated to like the comic books. Like there's a really awesome Avengers versus Alien comic.
Really?
That Jonathan? Oh, yeah. Yes, it was recently written by Jonathan Hickman, and there's so many cool stuff in it. Like the Davids of the universe of aliens travel to different universes and unleash aliens on each universe they get to in order to like kill every universe. And then they make it to the Marvel universe, and there's this cool thing where the symbiote attacks an alien. What do you call it?
Oh, an alien egg?
Monster.
Okay.
Yeah, alien egg, and then it morphs with it to like, and it takes control of the little alien. There's a lot of cool shit. But it's the kind of thing where it's like they're never gonna make a movie out of it. It's a comic book. They do all that weird cool shit for comics.
It's a shame they don't have a show called What If on Disney Plus where
that
they
could have done shit like that. Yeah. It's a shame that if they did do that, it would be fucking boring. Make a show called What If. That would be a real shame if that happened. But no, just Predator Badlands feels like a 1990s Predators comic, and it's
I was gonna say
coolest way.
Can we give a shout out to the VFX team at the former vestiges of Fox that have been absorbed, or I guess we can now call them 20th Century Studios, because they consistently are putting out films with incredible VFX. The Predator films, Alien, Planet of the Apes, and then also even the creator from what's his name, Gareth Edwards from a few years ago. All those films visually are economical and look far better than films from Marvel and for sure Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, insane. I was also gonna say I was probably not. I don't know. Is the time to talk about it? But the reviews for that Alien Earth show again, also coming out on Hulu, have been through the roof.
Really?
People, yeah. Ooh. Grace Randolph said, she was like, it's the greatest show ever.
Mm.
She's like, it's. I think she compared it to like Andor, but like she's like, but better.
Well, to be fair, David, she didn't like Andor. She didn't really like Andor, so that's not really saying much for her.
Okay. I think IGN
don't consider
gave it
that
a 9 out of 10. Every person I saw that reviewed it was like best thing out of Alien. I'll put it this way: it's compared to Andor in that it's like the TV show from the franchise that might be the best thing the franchise has ever done. Like those kinds of comparisons.
Okay, that makes sense.
But so it's just insane how.
Is it already out?
No. It's gonna come out next month. I don't know if they're gonna drop every episode at once, or I can't remember how many episodes it is. It's at least 6 or is it 8.
It's interesting when they do these releases. So they dropped King of the Hill all at once, didn't they?
Yeah, they dropped it all at once. I don't know why.
That's interesting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they thought they would get the most mileage out of it when they would do Futurama, because they also revived that recently. They would do one episode a week.
Yeah. I don't know. Especially when it takes them. It's worse when it takes them fucking years to come out with a new season. That's when it's bad.
That's every show now. That's every show now.
It really shouldn't be. It's insane how long it takes to make shows. When they would used to pump these puppies out 24 seasons. 24 episode seasons like nothing.
The one that I hear has like considerably up production is Invincible. It's like, yes, the 4th season's already going to come out. So
I think after the first couple of seasons they realized like,
well, the first season, it was one season, and then it was like it felt like 5 years until we got season 2, which I still haven't even seen because that's how long they took to come back.
Go back and watch it. It's good. I think people were a little iffy on season 2, and then season 3 was like peak.
People love 3 from what I heard.
So. Yeah. And I think it's just gonna keep going. But yeah, for whatever reason, 20th Century Studios, they got bought by Disney, and then they went crazy. they're just killing it right now. From everything they're doing with Alien to Predator to the Apes movies. Which I don't know. I wonder when we're gonna get some movement on the next one. It's been a minute, I would say, without real any
news on it.
Well,
you would think that they would already be in production. I mean, the movie did come out last year, but it's already been over a year.
Well, the thing though is the guy that directed that one, he's directing the Legend of Zelda movie. So I don't know if they're waiting for him or they just haven't found anyone to replace him.
Don't wait. I feel like there's too many franchises that wait for the wrong people. There are certain people that you do wait for. I even saw today this video of some producer that was like talking to Ian McKellen, and Ian McKellen was like had to talk to Peter Jackson, was like saying, "Hey, I can't do a Gandalf because I got to do this other thing." And then the producer was like, "I'm gonna take care of it for you." That way, he was able to do both Gandalf and Magneto. Which, by the way, what a run. But like, there are some people you do wait for, and there are some people they're like, okay, well, we can get somebody better surely than you. Like, I don't know why they insisted on doing John Watts for 3 Spider-Man movies. And I even heard Kevin Feige, I'm sure going to do 3 Fantastic Four movies if they do that with Matt Shackman. It's like, you don't gotta do that. You don't. I hope not. But you don't gotta do that for those people. You need to bring. You know, it used to be franchises would have different directors, and that would be okay. You know, if unless you have an auteur and you want to keep him, like, I want Matt Reeves for all the Batman movies. Don't move him around. But Matt Shackman, right. Give me somebody who's better. I'm sorry, that's just the way that it is.
I don't even know if they'll do
Fantastic Four too.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how. Honestly, I think it depends on how much of a hit they are in the next 2 Avengers films.
They gave Peyton Reed 3 Ant-Man movies. I just remembered.
Insane. They shouldn't have given him 1.
You got 3 Ant-Man movies. Anyway, that's a lot on that. Okay. On the speaking of, we forgot one thing in this 20th century hollow box. Avatar. And there was a new trailer, Avatar Fire and Ash. You haven't given your thoughts on that trailer.
They're killing it. David, as our resident Avatar lover, I saw your
wrong Avatar.
Oh, okay.
Wrong.
He loves that Avatar too.
No, I like.
He loves both Avatars.
Yeah.
The Last Airbender Avatar, and then also James Cameron Avatar. Yeah. It's the other one that doesn't like Avatar. She still has not seen Avatar: The Way of Water, and she will never watch it.
Really? Okay.
There's my. I can't remember what they're called.
What are they called?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
So much for my status on that.
The words are too weird.
Yeah.
What did you think of the trailer?
Oh, I loved it for sure. It's still visually awesome. I'm really excited for this story because like I mentioned last podcast, I like the fact that the villain is an actual Na'vi and not a human being. Sorry for the camera movement. But oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
This new antagonist, you mean, the female antagonist?
Yeah, the villain is Na'vi, and apparently, I've been hearing like a whole bunch of crazy stuff about it, but from what I'm hearing is that they suffered like some volcanic eruption in their land, and then after that they decided not to worship, their god anymore, the Awa anymore because of it, because they blamed Awa and just live off on their own.
Oh my god. This movie looks crazy, and I love it. This is an insane trailer. This looked like obviously uneasily, and this is not an easy thing to do. But in a trailer, it already looks like the visually best looking movie ever made, just in that trailer alone. And this is the thing. If you have already if you got yourself around to remembering that the first movie is actually good, and the second film is actually pretty great because they actually focus on characters. Now you're being rewarded because now you're going to get all this. Now you have all of these characters that are there's still the whole spider thing with his dad, which is also just lingering in the air, which is also very interesting. The moment to me that I think latched onto the most was just this, and I think it's going to be one of the scenes of the film when Sully is yelling at what's Zoe Saldana's character's name? Is it
Netiri.
Forget Netiri, right? He's like telling her, "You can't live like this. We can't live in hate." And it's like, wow, is that the same Sam Worthington that was cast in the first movie? Because he's come such a long way. Even that was like, and I'm not comparing it, but that was his equivalent of like Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever, who was like, "This is my acting scene, and we're gonna put it in the trailer." And good for him for like. And I told this to David last week. Look, if this is all Sam does with his career, hey, this is an amazing franchise to be in. It's like these billion-dollar grossing films that have obviously caught the imagination of the world. And so it looked like an amazing, fantastic trailer. Payakon is back. That's everyone's favorite. That's the character I think I remember the most. But like, he's incredible in the film. I don't know. I just think like I need this movie right now because this just looks like the best thing ever made from a visual standpoint, obviously. But I mean, James Cameron is just like, doesn't really miss, does he?
Well, what's funny is, and he's talked about this, it almost feels like those first two Avatar films were kind of just
Setup.
He kind of talks it that way. It was literally just laying pieces on boards, which is insane to talk about, like two of the most expensive, highest grossing films of all time that both took like over 20 years to come to fruition. Really more than that when you think about where the original idea from the story came from. Because he talks about like 3 and especially 4 are really like dominoes falling. Like everything he sort of set up starting to sort of coalesce. And he's kind of set up a lot. Like, of course, the rivalry between what's his name? Sam Worthington.
Sully.
And,
Jake Sully.
And Quaritch.
Yes.
He killed his son. Titi's pissed off. She has deep hatred for humans, which she then shows towards Spider, which Spider is Quaritch's son.
She was ready to kill him in the last movie. She wasn't joking.
She was more than willing to kill him. Plus, what's her name? Their other daughter.
Kitty.
Who was like the freaking Jesus birth.
Yeah.
She also has sort of AWOL powers, and you can tell she's, she has a thing for Spider. And then, the other son, who was kind of the outcast, is now the only son left, and he has a romance with the Water Tribes chieftain. And then you have all these like spinning tables that he's kind of just, all he's done is really set them up.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you have the humans trying to now colonize the whole planet of Pandora and then he's also introducing now the Ash Clan. They're called the Ash Clan because they live in the ruin of their old society, and they cover themselves in ash.
Kevin Feige, if you want to know why your movies are falling apart, this is why. Because you have to pay attention to James Cameron. It's like James Cameron is doing what you do, but in so many million times better than you ever could. He has spent 2 movies setting a whole bunch of things up, and yet each time still giving a rewarding and satisfying story with fully fledged and realized characters and moments that you're going to live with and come back to. You don't just set things up to tease for what's coming next, because all that does is make your current thing disposable. James Cameron has never once made anything disposable. Everything you watch, and especially those 2 Avatar films, are worth all of the talk and all of the attention they receive, because they are those films are made by somebody who understands that you have to give the audience something while you're there. It's called a movie. And Marvel continuously forgets to do that.
Yeah. They want you to be excited for the next thing. But if you want to be excited for the next thing, you got to blow them away with the current thing. Hopefully they get better, but we're 37 films in. So I mean, that's such a great trailer. And for the first time, I really find myself excited to and caring where these character and storylines go over the visuals. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or at the very least, neck and neck.
We have The Way of Water to thank for that, because I think it was a game changer, obviously. Avatar, the first film, is a really good movie. It was more spectacle and visual than it was character. Yeah. Way of Water, I think, balanced it out.
Yeah, they threw in just a lot of new characters, new concepts, new dynamics, and really created a perfect segue into this new film. Well, you see at one point they capture Jake Sully. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be a moment where they're leading him. All the humans. I don't know. I'm really, really digging it. I'm really into it. I'm telling you, Fox, out of nowhere, they became the best thing under Disney right now. Because when you think of like all their divisions, right? It's like Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, live action. I think that's all. Oh, the animated Disney animated originals. They're the ones that are just have been so goddamn consistent with like just banger after banger.
I think it shows that Disney just kind of stay out of their way, and whoever was left over after all those massive layoffs were like, okay, we got to fight for our right to survive. And they did just that, and they proved out by, pumping out consistent stories that resonated with people. It's actually kind of an amazing story when you think about how like hopeless they were when the whole merger thing happened, but they're obviously coming out on top. And as far as the other divisions are concerned, I mean, ultimately, with the exception of I think Star Wars and Marvel, I honestly do feel they're more responsible for their problems than Disney is, whereas Disney has definitely gotten in the way of animation and Pixar as far as dictating what gets made. I mean, no one here really thinks that Pixar on their own volition is making all these sequels. It comes down from Bob Iger coming back, and it's like, hey, we got to make some money. Too bad, so sad. Here we go. I was just reminded that back in 2019, when Toy Story 4 came out, one of the Pixar people said, at this moment in time, we have no sequels planned. We have nothing but original movies. Well, all it took was Bob Iger coming back and that. And of course, what happens? All these sequels come in. So it's like, but you are right by a mile that this Fox output are the ones that have been able to succeed, and here's hoping Disney doesn't also infect them and end up blowing that up for themselves as well. While we're on the topic of that, can we talk about this duality here with Fantastic Four and Superman? When we did our Fantastic Four review 2 weeks ago, we were all of the mind that Fantastic Four would have a bigger opening than Superman, but we all thought that maybe Superman in the end would have a higher worldwide total. I think we were right about one of those things. Now, what clearly has happened is Fantastic Four fell 66% in its second weekend, and it's obviously not going to make anywhere near enough money as Superman, which has already crossed, I think, around 550. It's crossed more than Man of Steel and Jurassic World Rebirth in the domestic box office. Obviously, we all can agree to this. The international box office is really weighing down Superman because of how Americana it is, and also the lack of presence that character has had in the international box office. So there's that.
I also
think be fair,
they're done with superheroes.
There's also that too. I mean, there's a lot of audiences that are done with superheroes, and here's the kicker: we could be looking at a situation in which F1 with Brad Pitt may be an overall higher worldwide grosser than all three Marvel movies this year. That is a sea change. Now, there's a lot to say about this conversation. There's a lot of, superhero movie fatigue, Disney Plus shows. All of those are valid conversations to be had. But I was saying to Peter earlier, that should not distract us from the main culprit. Kevin Feige and his decisions, his creative decisions, and him getting in his own way every single time is the primary reason for why his films are making less money, and is the primary reason, alongside, Warner Brothers and Sony's also lackluster efforts themselves included, but Kevin Feige really let everybody down here. But here's my thing. The same way that nobody wants to, name Bob Iger It's just easier to say Disney ruined this, Disney ruined that, but we can't say Bob Iger's name unless it's a success. Then we can say Bob Iger's name. The same thing goes to Kevin Feige. You know, all of these explanations for like, why is Marvel not making enough money, but not really enough people are lasering in on the person who is most responsible for all of this, and that is Kevin Feige. Fantastic Four, I said 5 years ago, if this had come out, it doesn't matter, the film could have even been a little bit worse than right now. If it had come out 5 years ago, it would have been $1.5 billion easy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. It would have been a $1 billion film.
And now it may not even make 500. It may not even make 500.
Yeah. We had talked about this. It is on. I do think it is on the powers that be at Disney that they ordered him to go double time into production.
There's a lot of parties at fault
for Disney Plus, but he's still the one that chose to make the projects that he chose to make. He chose to not bring in any help, really. He wanted to double, triple, quadruple the amount of output they were doing and still only have himself really at the top as like this decision maker. So yeah, of course, shit slipped through the cracks, wasn't as good. Yeah, it is that
Peter,
thing
can I ask you this question honestly? At this point, which studio head has a worse track record, Kathleen Kennedy or Kevin Feige?
That's so tough because the output is so different, you know. 37 films and like 10 TV shows versus 3.
That's not even count.
4, 5 movies and like another handful of TV shows. I mean, Marvel's never put anything out as good as Andor. And I would argue even
The Last Jedi.
Yeah. So who knows? But I mean, at this point, consistency, they're pretty comparable. The one leg they always had over Marvel was that their shit always looked way better. Even when it was bad, it looked immaculate. But now when you get into those later Andor seasons and Book of Boba Fett and even Ahsoka show, it's starting to just look cheap and ugly. Not as bad as Marvel, but it's getting there. Who's bad? I don't know. I honestly don't. I mean, Kevin Feige looks like he's trying to do better. With the last 2 output, but he's still doing some really fucking lame
It only took 5 years though, and that might be a bit
it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
That's the problem.
That shouldn't have happened in the first place. I feel like, I mean, for Kathleen Kennedy, at the very least, like, I understand her like position, because when Last Jedi came out, you know, it was split 50-50 of people being like, what the fuck, and people being excited.
The box office wasn't, though, to be clear about that. The box office is pretty fucking great. And so were the Blu-ray sales, the highest sold Blu-ray of 2018, in case anybody forgot. So the money didn't lie.
I mean, but still, like, I can understand.
But I know what you're saying, David.
Yeah, I can understand her being, you know, scared of like what just happened in that moment, and then she's trying to fix it up.
But do you see a pattern? Every time they're scared, they just play it too safe. Now, like what happened with Kevin Feige, he played it too safe with Fantastic Four. And here's the elephant in the room. Let me just tell you this. I had some very nice things to say about Fantastic Four, and I can still hold up to them. But fuck me if I've thought even for half a second about that movie since I watched it in theaters. Like, it has just not stayed at all.
And again, I think the problem with that does directly tie back to Kevin Feige, where all of the character stuff was just sanded down, you know, everything to just make it likable. Remember when I talk about the issue with like likable characters in Marvel? That's when that was their biggest problem, where the drama just wasn't there. Every character just had to be likable. There was no edge to any of these characters. And it seems like they went back to that security blanket with Fantastic Four, where there's just no edge to any of the characters. The drama is so light and so fluffy, which it could be a lot more, because again, Reed could be a real selfish dick, but you don't really see any of that.
He's not a dick at all in the movie, and that's kind of, I think, the problem. You take away all the flavor.
Yeah, even with Johnny, like all the characters, they have their flaws, and their demons, and they sanded away all the rough edges on the characters to the point where there's no real like arcs for any of them. They have things to do, but there's no growth overall.
That's really the reason. I think the film has just failed to resonate, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason.
On top of the fact that too many people in the market have just been kind of like, enough with superhero films. I'm out of it. I think the international box office is indicative of that, like of just this fatigue with superhero films. I think obviously in America, in the domestic box office, they're just far more relevant and they still are going to get a lot of play. But clearly there seems to be now a new ceiling when it comes to the international numbers with certain movies, obviously. With certain, I feel like if it's a big name like Avengers or Spider-Man, that obviously is going to make $1 billion. But I guess Fantastic Four, at this point, people were just like, it's been too many. And also, we got to keep in mind, Fantastic Four was the 4th major comic book movie to come out in the year. And only 2 weeks after Superman, they probably should have just waited on that movie for a little bit longer than coming out the same month as Superman.
Yeah. Again, that's their hubris. But guess what? They're not going to make that mistake again. I don't think they will.
We'll see about that. I think they can make plenty of mistakes still. I mean, I would hope not. That's just kind of where we are. David, did I interrupt you? You were going to say something else about your point?
I can't remember what else I was going to say. But I mean, I was just bringing back what I said. Like, there's no reason for him to be in that position, Kevin Feige, okay? Because he had 4 phases to make the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He just needed to do that again. But he just, even including like the Netflix shows and, the ABC shows, they worked well together. And guess what? You weren't a part of that, dude. They did their own thing. You should have done that with the TV shows on Disney Plus. Make someone else do the work on those shows. Maybe they can build their own cinematic universe too. Because we always thought from the beginning, like, oh yeah, we're going to get a new Avengers movie, but it's just going to be on Disney Plus. And like, that's great. That's perfectly fine. Never gonna happen now. I don't even know if those new Avengers are even gonna be in the Avengers, and just
real quick.
Good.
No, you finish. I know Peter wanted to say something, but you finish, David, first.
No, it's just he shouldn't have been in this position in the first place. Again, Kathleen Kennedy. I understand why she was in that position, but hopefully because of Andor, she kind of gets a little bit more confidence and just goes, all right. Whatever we did with Andor, I'm going to do that again with the next ones, and we're going to make, Lucasfilm great again.
My main thing is that no one ever brings up the fact that, unlike Kathleen Kennedy, where she definitely operates more like a studio head, and she seemingly and genuinely seems to allow the creators to do what they want, Kevin Feige's not like that. He does not operate himself as a studio head. He operates himself as a director and writer. He's the one that runs the show, and he is the one that insisted that everything be his decision. And he, in that interview that came out last week, was just like, yeah, without him I think, realizing he was saying this, like he was just, yeah, I'm the guy that makes all the decisions. Dude, you just said to the whole world that you're the one who's really at fault here, because if you're the one who's making all the decisions and you're the one that's really the director and the writer, well, who else are we going to blame here? Peter.
And again, it also goes to this idea, I already mentioned it, but the need to put out more and more and more talking
content.
The issue with the issues you see within capitalism, like always more. We need to do more. Making $4 billion movies in a year is now our baseline. So next year we need to do $5 billion movies. Good luck, What they really should have done after Endgame was to have Marvel go away for a while. To like really, really pull back on films. You have of course you're gonna have to put Spider-Man films out because that's what keeps the lights on in Sony, and they're never gonna stop. But they should have really scaled back on everything Marvel and just give the audience a little time to miss them, and give them the opportunity to just let them sit with the events that happened within Endgame before franchises were allowed to sort of end or go away for a while. Even if a company held on to a franchise, they wouldn't just try to reboot it 10 seconds later, they would give it time. Now you're not allowed to give it time. If you have a quote unquote franchise, you need to always have the next movie in production no matter what. Like, I know they're doing the Harry Potter show today, but let's say if the Harry Potter original films had ended like 3 years ago, they would already be planning like 4 spin-offs, a separate TV show, some sort of continuate. Like, it would be ridiculous. There would be like 5 different spin-off films they're already looking at. And one of the ways they tried to continue it was through Disney Plus, and like we've talked about, it just cheapens the way that people looked at the franchises to the point where it's severely hurt, definitely Pixar, but it's hurt Marvel too. And I really think, again, it hasn't been put to the test. We don't know yet. It's possibly hurt Star Wars to the point where they view Star Wars as almost like a TV
Saturday Night
franchise at this point.
I don't disagree with that, but I do think, though, there are obviously caveats when it comes to every rule.
Sure. Yeah.
My thing is, like, I feel when it comes to animated movies, that's where this whole Disney Plus thing has not only hurt them, but kind of just crucified them, honestly. When it comes to Marvel and Star Wars, well, with Star Wars, we'll see, but I'm pretty sure Grogu and The Mandalorian are going to be a big hit. And look, not for nothing, there have been other Disney Plus projects like Moana that ended up making $1 billion. Zootopia 2, when it comes out in November, will make $1 billion. Lilo and Stitch will make $1 billion. So it's like, it seems like when it comes to the big names, that has not dissuaded people from going to the theaters. When it comes to anything new, that's where we run into a problem with. And that's all obviously Disney's own making. That's their own problem. The Disney Plus argument, I think, is the most cogent when it comes to animation. And we've had that conversation for going on for years. I don't want to put too much stress on that because that's a factor. It's not the main feature. Feige and Feige's decisions are the ones that need to be talked about more so than that. And to just say it's Disney Plus's fault, that's a scapegoat. I'm not saying it's not a factor, but that's just where we are with it. So I guess we'll see what happens. I wanted to ask you guys, do we have any kind of expectations for Spider-Man 4? They were shooting this week actually outside, and they got some good press out of it. We got a new Spider-Man suit. Peter, you love your suits, your costumes. I'm going to say it. I don't know. I guess, do you still have issues with David Cornsweat's suit?
Yeah. They're the same as they were.
I don't get it. I really do think it's a perfect suit. No.
It's too... You see the way that the new Spider-Man suit is like thin, and that's the way Superman's should be.
Yeah,
he doesn't need like a thick, bulky. You don't need it.
There have been plenty of people who were actually saying that he looks slimmer than he did in the other movies, like how it's like getting in the way of how bulky he actually is. From some comments. I've seen.
That's fine. Says Spider-Man's very slim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a great costume.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any concerns. I'm sure it'll look great. I just based on the images that I saw, it definitely is a cross between, I guess, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's, and that would make sense after No Way Home. It definitely isn't as skin tight as the other ones were. The other ones were of a different variety, where it was like far more like
the other ones. I don't like the way they looked, and I think it was the CG. I think they added a
the
layer
CG,
of CG
hurt that
over it. It almost, this is a weird way to say it. He looked like fondant, like there was like smooth shininess to him that looked like he was cake. Like you can cut him. It's such a weird comparison.
I do like what they're going for though with this costume. It's like it's a homemade costume, and look, Kevin Feige says
exactly like Spider-Man. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so does Superman.
It's not perfect.
But the collar,
it's a good costume.
I guess the collar is a big thing to be all that worked up about. God forbid they put a collar on. Here's the thing.
I'd be okay with a collar if it wasn't so bulky.
Oh my God. Spider-Man suit looks great. I hope Kevin Feige. I mean, even as I say this sentence, I mean, I can't because it's Kevin Feige. But like, he says it's going to be a grounded film. I would hope that would be the case. But then again, as we've been discussing, we've got all these characters: the Punisher, the Hulk, Mr. Negative. Apparently, Mephisto of all people is going to be in the movie. And like, what? Like, what's happening here?
There's reports and claims that Mr. Negative is not in the movie, which we'll see.
What's his name? The lizard? Not the lizard. What's the character's name? The Scorpion. Scorpio. Yeah. Okay.
We know for a fact that he's going to be in the movie. We know for a fact Hulk, Bruce Banner,
John
whatever
Bernthal
capacity, and John Bernthal's the Punisher. I think those we know for a fact. And then there's reports of a bunch of other ones as well. I don't know. Legitimately, I don't know. Like I said, everything that is coming out of Tom Holland's mouth makes me excited. Not excited, but it's like, that's positive. Everything that Destin Cretton has said about how he views Spider-Man and what kind of movie he wants to make makes me feel positive. It reminds me of a lot hearing James Gunn talk about Superman and be like, okay, he gets it.
The fact that they're shooting outside is also a good development.
I have to say, those set photos blew me away. I think they look incredible. The video is so cool. It's so cool. And then there were so many photos and videos passing around when people are like, I think Spider-Man's real, guys. And it especially one, it just looks like a candid photo of like, if Spider-Man were real, that just looks like a photo. So many of them just look like photos people would take of him swinging around the city, and it's so cool. It's so well done.
Does Tom Holland look too old to be Spider-Man? I don't think he does, but I just wanted to ask.
He's supposed to be an older Spider-Man. Like that's the point. He's an adult now.
Was he supposed to be 18 in No Way Home?
I think he was.
Yeah, right? I would assume so.
Oh wait, No Way Home? Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then what? I mean, how many years in the future are we going to be here? I wonder.
Early 20s, I would say.
Yeah.
Listen, freaking 30-year-old. What's his name? Tobey Maguire was supposed to be 16 in that first film.
Yeah. Look, I'm not one to mince ages. I just wanted to put it out. I mean, I think the more hilarious example of like, whoa, these people are way too old to play these characters is Wicked. Like a lot of the cast is like 30s or 40s.
Are they supposed to be children? That's what I didn't understand.
Bowen Yang was playing a college kid.
But that's what I mean. It's Wicked. A mythical world, so I don't know the rules. Maybe adults go to college. I don't know. Well, I mean, adults do go to college. But
yeah, we know what you mean.
Cynthia Erivo was like almost 40, isn't she? And she was like, I think, playing like an early 20s character. So it's.
I'm so glad that they don't even address it, because I think if they try to be like, oh, it's my 18th birthday, I would be like, all right, I'm done. Like, this is stupid.
Maybe in Wicked for Good, we'll get that. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll get all the behind the scenes
of the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz. Hopefully, there's a AI generated background explanation. No, but I think the costume, perfect. I love the practical swinging looks perfect. It looks great.
It's about time they do that.
Again, everything I hear from the star and the director sounds good, especially because Daniel Destin Cretton literally said that what's his name? Who was the one who did the other Spider-Man movies?
John Watts.
John Watts had told him, like, yeah, man, don't even try practical swinging. It never looks good. It's a big hassle. It sucks. Don't try it. Like, he told him that, and then he's like, all right. I guess he took his advice and threw it in the garbage, as he should have.
That's a good sign. Amazing. That's a really good sign.
That's what I mean. That's a really good sign.
Well, I mean,
he's going like,
were there any practical in like the Sam Raimi ones? Or
yes, not a lot, but what he did was, and this was really cool, especially at the time, he took the camera and he would like had a massive crane and would like swing it down throughout the city. So the CG Spider-Man swinging was, it was CG, but the city and everything moving around it was all in camera, So he just took like a pendulum, and then of course whenever he would like swing up and swing down, all of that was real. It was all like cables and stuff. Now of course all the crazy wild stuff, yeah, it was CG.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the thing.
Where
though.
He could do it practical, he did. And you can really see if you go back and watch it. There is.
What about the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield?
The Amazing Spider-Man movies did actually. They might have done the most with trying to do practical. The first Spider-Man, they had a whole scene where he's like, and they.
I'll be honest.
Him,
I can't remember anything in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 because it was all dark. I couldn't see anything. I can only see the second one.
I'm not one of these stupid Gen Z.
But at least in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they went outside. I think it looked pretty good. From what I remember.
That was mostly CG, but you know what? Again, I'm gonna give credit to Mark Webb. His swinging looked a lot better than John Watts. It's memorable.
I think we just found out why it did, since John Watts didn't even seem to try. Apparently, from what we just found out, I didn't even hear that little tidbit there.
I don't know. Everything visually with those Spider-Man films was boring. The few times where it had some life in it was when he did do some practical shit with like the fight between him and Goblin, which is funny.
So you're telling me there's a chance to be hopeful here that Destin maybe is the right person here? Like, and I gotta tell you this, like, maybe was I too harsh on Shang-Chi? Because I just thought it wasn't a terrible movie, but it was just it did nothing for me. But I mean, hey, that was 2021, and now Shang-Chi looks a lot better than where we are right now than it did at the time.
I will agree. Shang-Chi really just didn't do it for me. I don't think it's terrible. The CG it really falls apart in like the third act. Again, another victim of like the Marvel stuff.
Was it made during COVID also?
I don't even fucking remember.
Because it came out September 2021, so I would assume
then
did get made during COVID.
Yeah, I mean the thing though too is that when he made that movie was like, did he have much of a choice in a lot of the action and
that was his first big movie. I did see real effort within the film, but it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, the Marvel formulas took over it enough where it just didn't do much for me. I'm hoping from everything I'm seeing now, for me, for the first time, maybe in my adult life, it looks like someone's trying to make a Spider-Man film.
I did hear
he was live action.
He was really taking a lot of inspiration from the comics.
Yeah.
Which, could be a good thing, a bad thing, but it's like, that's cool. Maybe he seems like a really good fan then. Of the Spider-Man.
I'm really interested. I guess the biggest thing for me is to just know what the story is. Because we really have no idea. Which is pretty crazy, because usually...
Are they ever going to make him
means there is a complete script?
Hopefully there is. Are they ever going to do the thing where he's a photographer or works at the Daily Bugle? Is it just not going to be a thing in this iteration?
That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Also, what about Sadie Sink? Is she going to be married? What is she going to be? Sadie Sink in this movie? Do we even know?
She's for sure casted?
Hannah Osborne. No, I don't know.
Hannah Osborne. Grace Randolph was like, "Is this Mayday?" And I'm like, "No."
Mayday Parker. I don't know. They might try and do. I can see Feige trying to be like multiverse bullshit, you know.
And then one more thing. Apparently, Zendaya is not going to be in the movie all that much. Apparently.
Good.
Yeah. Good.
Which is also encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I think to really make just everything emotionally hit, he needs to be removed from the people in his life in a big way for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that's just holding me back is I just don't know what the story is yet. I think once I have an idea of what the story is,
and whatever they want to shoehorn to connect with the Avengers, also that's also the other thing that's out there in the wind, you know.
By the way, in the comics, he also becomes a teacher for a while, which I always liked as like an eventual career that he would do.
They did that in the Spider-Man 2 game, but it only lasted like a day because something happened and he got fired. And that's like, but I remember like, you know, in those first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, he's a teacher. That's a great job for him. What the hell? It works
perfectly for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also in the games too.
There was a part of some of the best comics he was in where he was a teacher. Yeah.
And also in the games, he was like some assistant to some professor or something like that, or like some scientist. That's also another job that he had, which also works well. So
Dr. Connors.
Yeah, and so that can also be like an alternate.
Octavius.
Yeah, it was Otto Octavius in the first Spider-Man game. Yeah. So that could also be like an alternate job for him. He doesn't have to do photography anymore. He can still do it, and you know, post some stuff online for like for news websites. I mean,
it's a side hustle.
Yeah, as a side hustle. So he can still do that, but they for sure just want him to have like a stable job of sorts. They can do the teacher thing or some assistant. So we'll see.
I'm feeling a little hope for it. I'm hearing all the right things so far. And those set photos are genuinely awesome. Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I think because people have always been so stupidly obsessed with like spoilers, don't spoil the movie. And that led to Marvel shooting every single one of their fucking movies in like the
soundstage.
Some soundstage in Atlanta. And that's why it all looks like shit. I say don't be afraid of that. Shoot out in the open. Make it a fucking spectacle.
Yeah.
Because look at how excited it got people. I think bring the genuine magic of film and filmmaking to the public eye and make it a spectacle for them to see. And I think it'll remind them why they love movies so much, right? Because to me, just seeing that big old like crane operation they had while they were going down the street that they closed off with this big tank, and you have a stuntman swinging back and forth in a Spider-Man costume. I'm like, oh man, I love movies, you know?
I even saw like Tom Holland was only there for the first day, but they're still filming in Glasgow, and it's the stunt double, but people are still showing up just to see the stunt double
because it's fucking cool.
Shooting the scenes. It's just cool to see that.
But then also too, like unless you're actively trying to look for those things, you're not really gonna get spoiled by anything. So,
but also if you are, who cares? Who cares?
Oh yeah, who cares?
Spoilers do not. This has scientifically been proven. Spoilers do not diminish the enjoyment of a film.
The one thing I want to say though is, like it. And I agree with you, Peter, and I'm happy that they're not as concerned, especially since they've like they did so much in the last week with like, oh, this character's in this character's happening in the movie. They also unveiled the suit the day before they were going to go shoot because they realized, and they even allowed these high quality images to be out there and like, hey, you do you and put them out there.
Work with it. I really think this is more the direction that movie studios should go, because one, you get a way better looking film, and two, I really do think it reinvigorates the audience's love for real films. And what I mean is like not like bullshit AI, not, shit like that, just, a camera, a crew, actors, stunts, explosions. There was real fucking explosions going on. It was so cool. Just the magic of film.
A little bit, just to remind people who we're dealing with here, and just to keep our expectations in check here, and remind everybody here. James Gunn's Superman had a whole year to finish its visual effects. Mm-hmm. This Spider-Man movie, a year from now, it would have already come out. And they've only just started shooting. So again, yes.
If you look at Fantastic Four, the visuals were actually pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The parts that didn't look great were the ones where there was obviously some last minute shenanigans to sort of.
And who was responsible for that, I wonder?
Yeah. As long as they actually have a good script that doesn't need any last minute plussing, I don't think they should be too worried about visual effects. And the best part is when you do most of it practically, you don't have to worry about last getting all the visual effects done last minute, because most of it's on the screen already. I don't know. I feel like for the first time in my adult life, I'm going to go to the movies and see a Spider-Man movie. How good or bad it's going to be, I don't know. But it'll be a Spider-Man movie, which just never felt that way with the what's his name? I'm so bad with my memory.
Tom Holland.
No. Watts, with the Watts film.
John Watts.
We kind of got halfway there. By the end of the film, I feel they got there with No Way Home. But I mean, it's a decade of Spider-Man with what I feel nothing that really feels like a Spider-Man film.
Yeah. I also hope we're leaving behind the era of ending a film that teases an ending and then throwing it in the garbage can. With the next movie, that also I think really undermined themselves to a degree that they shouldn't really have been.
Or ending a Spider-Man film by going, now he's Spider-Man. Every single John Watts Spider-Man film ended with the message of like, now he's Spider-Man. Now he's his own hero and his. Every single one ended the exact same way with the exact same like through line.
I do hope funny. Destin brings the edge though. I hope it's not like means tested.
Yes.
The way that
it needs to be darker. And, that's another thing. They are saying that it's darker.
Yeah, it's and I will say that is true. And I hope look. I also just real quick, people and movie studio executives need to learn not to press too much importance on those screen testings, because we've been talking about that more recently with Fantastic Four and with Elio, and I don't know, I can't speak to the quality of what Elio was before they fired or I guess demoted Andrew Molina, but apparently they asked every person that was in their test screen, would you pay to watch this in the theater, and nobody put their hand up. Now that could do more with the fact that no one wants to pay apparently for original animated movies anymore in theaters, whatever. But with Fantastic Four, no, Superman, I should say, those bitches wanted them to take out the squirrel scene. Did you hear about this shit?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. You know what? Maybe that is what fucking ruined
Fantastic
Four. Because remember that they said that was the most
screen tested movie they ever did.
Yeah. It was the most tested film that they've ever made. You know what? Maybe that's what it was, because it genuinely feels like a better film that was sanded off into oblivion by just 1,000 people going like, well, that's a little too offensive. That's a little too much. They made it stale.
Well, you had mentioned, Peter, there was a character that was cut with the whole monkeys thing in the beginning of the movie with Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Completely. Well, they chopped up the entire opening action sequence and turned it into that.
Which is crazy, because it really, and I'm not usually one of these people that says we need more action, but this one needed more action.
Yeah.
Honestly, I disagree. I liked the more like sciencey,
like a scene,
problems.
Well, I mean, to me, in comparison to the real issue is they needed more character. They needed action. That was the big problem with it.
If it had character, I think I would be fine with the lack of action. But if you're not going to do that, throw in another couple action
But you did also say that the film didn't really use the character's powers in any interesting way, and that also, I think, is a fault of the film.
That is a problem, because they could have used them in more interesting ways. Like, if it's not going to be action, it's more like sciencey problem-solving stuff. Use the powers in more interesting ways when they're solving problems. You know what I mean? They did drop the ball creatively, I feel, with their powers. But yeah, screen testing, that is a worry with the Spider, because with Superman, I can definitely see a version of that film that's like screen tested into oblivion, where it's like, it's fine. There's action, the characters are there, and they're nice and good enough. But, all the edge is taken away, right? I can see them rewriting and reshooting that interview between Superman and Lois to, like, shave away the combativeness and the drama. Maybe cut down the Baravia plot to, like, its bare bones, so you don't really get any of the political intrigue with that. Make what's his name,
so
Crypto,
take everything
nicer.
That makes it special, or just cut Crypto completely. That could have also
no, they wouldn't cut Crypto, but they would take all the edge off of Crypto, to where he's useless less of like a nuisance, and he's more just a cutesy dog. Basically take away all the great edge that the film has,
which is a great segue, Peter, to finally get to you talking about Superman, because technically you were there on our review, but you were a little bit incapacitated, it seems, so we kind of just had to like cut you from the frame.
I'm okay with that. Some people here don't understand that sleep is necessary. They've never understood it, so
even whatever. Alexis was like fine, whatever, continue.
She's not even in the country currently, okay? So, I loved it. Oh, it was great. It was Superman. It stuck with me. I really, really enjoyed it. I was talking to you. I think it's James Gunn's messiest film. Like, looking back at all his films, I think I don't want to say his best film, but his best directed, most cohesive film, where he's just like, everything he's learned is like perfectly in sync, is the Suicide Squad. I think it plays perfectly into all of his strengths, right? It's an R-rated comedy action ensemble. Huge ensemble with like zany, fucked up characters. It is quite literally his bread and butter. Like, they were characters, the Suicide Squad was like characters created specifically for James Gunn to direct. So I think because of that, it's just his best direct. He just knew exactly what to do with all of them. With Superman, he admittedly came into it a little unsure of like how to tackle the character. He said it took him a while. And it's also his first film in a while that's just not an ensemble, right? It's supposed to be about one guy. It's Superman.
They're still ensembles. As you put, I mean,
the way he responded to that is to make like 20 ensembles. So Lex Luthor has an ensemble. He has the ensemble of the Justice Gang. He has the ensemble of the what do you call it? The Daily Planet. There's with a bunch of other side characters to boot. So he throws everything at the wall. And so I think it kind of ends up being his messiest film, but to a certain extent, it is by design. And
like that's what he was going for, basically.
That's what he's going for.
And he spoke into the fact that it's his homage to comic books, and very clearly one of the things that people took away with immediately was like, wow, this more than any other comic book movie feels like you're being dropped into the middle of a comic book.
Yeah, it just feels like you're on issue like 16 of a comic book run, and it's like you're just starting the story here and just taking it with you, which is so cool. It is great.
Yeah. And by the way, you were saying that you were saying real quick that maybe Kevin Feige took inspiration from that and may apply it to Spider-Man 4 because of all these different characters being added to it.
I don't know of inspiration. Well, yeah, maybe inspiration, because very clearly he's talked about getting some inspiration from DC and what everyone else is doing.
In the interview, he actually referenced that's one of the things he liked the best was that it didn't set up really anything. Like, here it is, here are the characters, here's the world, and here we go. So
that was the thing that caught my eye when he was talking about how he enjoyed Superman, was he really liked how everything was just started. You know, there was no introduction to Mr. Terrific. You didn't have to explain his backstory. He's here. He's not queer as far as I know of, but he's he's ready to go. He's a hero, and that's it. You know, you're just sort of dropped into this world.
Yeah,
and I think he kind of did that a little bit with the Fantastic Four, and we're talking about like.
Although to be fair, though, didn't you say that Michael Waldron was a secret lover or something because of how many times he keeps hiring him? Even though the fans have pretty much expressed that they don't want Michael Waldron involved in the writing process for any of the movies because he's going to be writing Avengers, I guess, Doomsday with one of the other writers. So
Avengers Doomsday, which is like in month 5 or 4 of shooting. It seems like it's just a vacation for the actors. Everyone always makes jokes about every time these actors are like posting pictures, they're not on set. They're like out golfing or just chilling, hanging out,
yeah,
because they don't got nothing to shoot. Yeah, maybe secret lovers. We'll see. That'll be great in the book they write 20 years from now about the history of Kevin Feige and Marvel. So yeah, that is something to watch with Spider-Man, where maybe he kind of wants to do that with Spider-Man 2, where it's just like, hey, we're just picking up a few years later in Spider-Man, and just these are all his villains. They're already established. We don't need to explain it. You know, this is just the world he's in right now. Which I would be for. I think that's the best way to do it. That's easily the best way to do it.
That was the fun thing in the video game. He did it for 10 years in the video game, and you're just thrown in. He's got it all down. He knows what to do, how to save people, how to save the most people, and the villains that he deals with, like, he knows how to deal with them.
Like everyone's saying how the Scorpion's going to be in it. Maybe he's not a main villain. Maybe he's an opening villain, you know? Scorpion is robbing a bank and he needs to go in there and stop. You know, who knows? Mm-hmm. But I'm cool with that. But yeah, it's the most feeling like a comic book movie. And it also I think shows the different approaches to films and filmmaking between James Gunn and Kevin Feige, where James Gunn, he got weirder than he's ever gotten with any of his other films. Not just with his cast of characters, with the structure of the story and the writing and characters, but with his filmmaking. Like, he was really going for it with all the visual flourishes, the fisheye lens. He was swinging for the fences with this movie, and I think he mostly gets it over the
finish line.
The finish line. No, I really, really enjoyed it. It's the Superman movie I've wanted to see, you know, all my life, but more specifically, it's the Superman character I've been waiting to see back up on the big screen forever. David Cornsweet killed it. I love him as Superman. I love all the cast of characters. I do no bad casting, but really just the main core. It's like, that's Jimmy, that's Lois. I'm really excited to see the continuation of this world, right? Like when we got to the end and we saw Supergirl, I'm like, man, I can't wait to see Supergirl, you know, the movie next. By the way, have you read Woman of Tomorrow yet?
I read like 5 pages. I literally have not had time for like the past couple of weeks, dude. It's fucking insane. But I'm trying.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to say real quick on some quick things about the movie. The Sarah Sampiao, who plays Eve, Luther's girlfriend, but then I guess at the end Jimmy's girlfriend. Or something. One of the things that it's just called Eve.
No, her last name. Eve.
Yeah, yes. Miss Tess. Yeah. Oh, that's the same name. You're right. As the other character. Okay.
The love interest in the original Superman.
One of the main things that didn't age as well in my subsequent viewings, I think we can all agree, was maybe the meanness of Jimmy Olsen. But I do wonder, though, and I wonder if you caught this at the very end, when Eve is like running and screaming toward him, like, "Yay, we finally get to be together forever" in a comedic way. If you look closely at his face, that's the first time he's not completely grossed out by the idea of that. Did you notice that too? Yeah. It's like, I wonder if maybe there was actually some growth there at the last minute.
Did you see? James Gunn has talked about that. That's the cool thing about James Gunn. That's what I love, is how open he is with the process.
I was right. Otis and the other guy are going to be in Peacemaker season 2. I saw
they are? Okay. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Some of Lex Luthor's crew is going to be in Peacemaker season 2, which is going to come out in a few weeks. But James Gunn's doing a podcast on Peacemaker right now, and you get to actually seeing it. Is doing a rewatch podcast with season 1. He's even going to be doing.
I listened to the first and the second, or half of the second episode. It's a great podcast. It's really awesome.
Isn't it cool that he's doing this? He's now a studio head in a way, although he's not really, and I love how you explain that. But
he's a kid in a candy store. He's using that power just to do whatever the fuck he wants.
But it's so cool to see him actually be so I mean, transparent maybe not even is the right word here, but he's just so genuine, like with what he's doing, and is having an open dialogue with people about it as he's going through the way. You know, I love that.
So he said that last shot, when she jumps in his arms and he has like that face, he's like, there was 3 different versions. And his version, the one James Gunn wanted, what's it called? He just gives a face like, kill me. Like, he's like,
that's James Gunn.
Then that's very much James Gunn. And then I can't remember who he argued with. They're like, no, like do it where like he ends up sort of like smiling, you know.
He does smile,
sort of accepting her. So that was one of them. And they went with something in the middle, where he's more like, he's originally kind of like Jesus Christ, and then like he gives it a second and he somewhat comes around, you know, like a small smile. And that's the one they went with.
I like that they did that, because otherwise it would have been too mean, I think.
Too mean, but then also if he was straight up smiling at the end, that would have been a little bit off.
It also wouldn't have fit with previously. Yeah. I still think his character is a little too mean. Because the thing with what's his name? He's never been mean like that. He's never been like, he's always been a ladies' man, but he's always been like a love. He falls in love every single time. You know, he's that kind of ladies' man. More what do you call it? What was his name on Cartoon Network? Johnny
Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. Like, think of a successful Johnny Bravo. It's something like that. But with like, they made him a little too neat. But the comedy works, and overall, his character works and the movie works. But that's one thing. Like, if I'm doing like my complaints, that's one complaint. I would have brought it back. I would have at least just gotten rid of like the mutant toes line, because that's mean. You know,
it's a bit too much. The Jor-El and the Secret Harem. How is that going to age?
Okay. See, that's tough. It's one of those things where it's just so foundational, and so many things stem from Jor-El being who he was in the comics, and so many stories and characters.
One thing real quick, I like though that there was a reversal, because in all the movies, like, there's a lot of importance placed on Jor-El. I like the flip where we end the film and he's much more concerned and focused of his actual parents that are alive. Ma and Pa can't.
That's what I'm saying. For the film, and of course James Gunn writes to make the best film that he's making in that moment. For the film, it works, and it works great. And at first I was a little unsure throughout the film, but of course by the time you get to that ending, it's like, oh, okay, this is what he was trying to reach, and he nails the ending, so it works. But when you're talking about a universe, it's one of those things where it's like when you change the foundation, now when you try to build out, the foundation is kind of compromised. You know, it's very different. But because he's in charge, you know, he can address it. And I'm not that worried because he obviously had a lot of say in the script for Supergirl, and he's currently writing the follow-up, not necessarily a sequel, Superman sequel, but he's the follow-up for where you'll see Superman next. And I guess he's really, really excited about that. Whatever that's going to be, he'll announce it eventually. So I trust that it's not actually going to be a problem. And I also think it's a unique angle that you could maybe take some other storytelling and do something with, you know? Because he's like, well, I don't think them as evil. They just sort of looked down on the people of Earth. They kind of viewed them kind of like bugs. They were like below them, but they're not like evil people. But I think you can play with that and tell an interesting story, especially if you throw in like a character like Brainiac, which I know a lot of people really want to see.
One hot take maybe I have is, while I really was thrilled with it the first time, I feel like maybe either Gunn needs to rethink how he does these kind of sequences, because they may be getting a little bit stale, but people were really raving about it initially. I love Mr. Terrific. His sequence is a cool sequence, but it has less and less repeat value every time I watch the movie. It's more like, okay, I've seen this already. Can we move on? You know? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's like, it makes me think of the better sequences in the Guardians films, where I'm like, well, you did the same thing already, and like you've done it better.
It is classic James Gunn, and especially when you look at everything else he's doing with Superman, that kind of feels newer to him. Like with all the fights that Superman is in and the flying, the way he's moving the camera, it's not something that you've seen a million times, I guess, from him, which is something you have seen with the Mr. Terrific scene. But it's also one of those things where it's like, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's pretty fun, cool.
I think it's not as rewatchable because Mr. Terrific's not really the main character, whereas with the other ones,
that's also something.
You know, it's
there's less emotional. It's a cool scene for the sake of coolness. There's not much emotional resonance in it, where they do that does there for like the Guardians film.
One thing you mentioned,
maybe that's what was missing about it. Go ahead, David.
One thing you mentioned that James Gunn was like, what was it? He was doubtful of making this movie, or that he felt
he
didn't feel confident.
Yeah,
he didn't feel confident like making this character, you know, come to life and all that. There's some people who believe that James Gunn still wasn't the right fit for this, to make this movie and all that. And they use that excuse that like even he admitted that, you know, he was doubtful about making this character. The thing is, he felt doubtful about Guardians of the Galaxy. He turned down making the movie when he was first pitched about it, and then he wasn't until he was driving home, and then he thought about, you know, talking raccoon and all that. But then he started thinking, oh, like what if he was like tortured to do this, you know, to be a talking raccoon and all that, and then that's how the character started, and that's how you get him in Guardians 3. The story was yours all along. It was all leading up to that. So if yes, he was doubtful, but like felt confident in still doing it, he must have a reason for it. So I mean, it should have still been shown.
I can understand him being nervous and a bit hesitant because there was a lot riding on this movie. I mean, if this had not been successful, the discussions we'd be having right now would be very, very different with this movie, you know? I get it. And there were plenty of people who were a little bit resistant to the idea because he mainly does ensemble movies. That's the first thing that he needs to get away from. to do a movie like this in a way.
But I don't think he really did.
He didn't, but he did as much as I guess he could, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing that he had to break the mold was not having too many sequences that had a pop song playing over it, which he's the best at doing.
I will say he did had like one or two. Department.
He did a lot better in that, and we had more score, I guess, come in where it needed to be by John Murphy and David Fleming, retooling John Williams' score, but different components of it that were really well used, I think, in the film. So there was some really growth. You know, he was able to grow in some areas in this aspect. It's not completely perfect, but I will say, I think he made a film that, in a really weird way, and I'm sure unintentional at that, was it tapped into the consciousness of pop culture in a way I don't think anybody else could have because of who James Gunn is. And maybe that's not what he was trying to do, but he made a really prescient piece of art that really clicked with people in this moment in history. And he totally got what Superman is supposed to represent. So in that department, he delivered and then some.
I will say it's not, I also don't think it's not surprising that his follow-up film, he seems to be going back to an ensemble film. Because Superman is only a piece of what the film is. He's an important character, but not the main character. I have a feeling there isn't going to be a main character because it's going to be an ensemble film. But
and by the way, it's like this isn't to say that Kevin Feige can't do this too. Like, let's say if Spider-Man comes out and if the Hulk is as if the Green Lantern guy Gardner, right, was his role in Superman. That's one thing, but if we look at the track record, Hulk is going to take the space of Doctor Strange or Iron Man or Nick Fury, and they were not side characters. They were like the mentor role. You know, that's what I don't want in those movies.
Yeah, the way you utilize them. If they are just characters that happen to exist in this world, and they're kind of on the peripheral, that's fine. It's also the characters you choose, right? Because I think including someone like more street characters, like if they had said like, hey, in this movie, they're going to have Daredevil. They're going to have...
which he's rumored to be in it. He's rumored to be in at least a scene.
I think you would have already seen him. Maybe in one scene. But they're going to have the Punisher. Which
also, Shang-Chi was also rumored, I should say. Shang-Chi was also rumored to at least be in a scene here.
I don't know about that. But just more
and then,
streetwise
if they're doing those characters, is Kingpin really not going to make an appearance in here since he's the mayor of New York City, apparently? So it's like...
See, apparently there's some... He can't appear in films? Like, there's some...
No shit. Really?
Yeah.
But Sony owns the character.
I have no idea. Don't they? But maybe they don't have like a deal. I don't know.
But it's a Sony movie. I don't get it. Okay.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That would be a waste if they can't have Kingpin be in these movies. Like,
no, yeah, he should be the main villain in one of these. He should have been. I thought he should have been in this one, right? A Black Cat, of course. Yeah. Just more street level character.
I mean, you were saying they should have done Kraven for the last one.
Yeah, Kraven would have been cool as shit. Kraven, I think, would have been perfect for the last film, the film that they were going to make. But like Mr. Negative is another one where I'd be cool with them throwing in there. Honestly, the only one where it's like the Hulk that really kind of bugs me. Because it's like...
Well, especially because of the stink of what happened this year with them turning Captain America into a Hulk movie. Yeah, without the Hulk in it. They made a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, called it Captain America, and didn't even have the main Hulk character in it. They made a Thunderbolt Ross movie. Like, what was that? Like,
they keep inserting Hulk shit everywhere. It's weird, because it never works. And they're just diminishing Hulk.
It only worked one time. That was Ragnarok.
They haven't done anything interesting with Hulk since the fucking Avengers.
Right?
Which is really sad to say. Like, they didn't do anything interesting with him in Infinity War or Endgame.
Well, they just didn't bother because Universal has the film rights. And like, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
You can tell he's not a favorite of what's those
Kevin
directors?
Feige?
No.
Joe and Anthony Russo?
Yeah. Because it seemed like he was just there out of obligation. Like, I don't know. They did fucking nothing with him.
I don't know. They were
on him some behind doing the snap is like nothing to me.
No, I mean there were some cutscenes though that seemed like they were trying to do something, but I don't know. I don't know what happened in the making of it. His
non-existent romance with Black Widow. yeah.
That was more of a Joss Whedon thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like he just hasn't been an interesting character since that first Avengers film. That's the last time Bruce Banner as a character and the Hulk as an extension was interesting.
Yeah.
They've done some fun stuff with him, but yeah.
So overall, really, look, David Cornsweet was the perfect person to play this character, and with all of the stuff that has come out with the press junket, I'm ready to see more of these characters. And by the way, can we just, this is also an aspect that's not like appreciated enough, because maybe Superman and Fantastic Four are unfair, are being compared unfairly so, but whatever. I mean, they have a lot of similarities, but with both Fantastic Four and Superman, there's supposed to be these romances. Reed and Sue, I'm so sorry, but you ain't got nothing on Clark and Lois. They were steamy, like all throughout Superman, and that's the romance we need in these movies. Like that's a component that the MCU specifically chose to just, drop along the way when they were expanding their universe. Bring that back. And I think if you bring back the romance element and lean into it, you may bring back some audiences.
Yeah. Make these characters feel like humans again. Give them edges.
Make them... God. Oh my God. Just aping on Make America Great Again, aren't they? Okay. Moving on. From James Gunn to the Naked Gun. Peter, can we talk about what an amazing time it was to go see that movie?
Yeah, that was a lot of
fun. The Naked Gun, which is like a movie I didn't even realize it was supposed to be a spoof, which is why I also wasn't like that thrilled with the trailers. I thought like they made an intentionally bad movie, and I'm like, oh wait, no, that's the joke. So I went back and watched. Yeah, I went back and watched the originals, the first two, which I thought were hysterical, and then this one was like, I mean, it's a novelty, unfortunately, so that we have a comedy in theaters and it's doing well. I mean, it did $17 million, but if this was like 10 years ago, that's the equivalent of like $40 million. That's how much people have just like not seen comedies as a theatrical thing. We can thank the studios for that and dumping all the rom-coms and comedies only on streaming and not in theaters. Thank you very much, all the studios. But this was way better than I think anybody ever thought it would be. Like this was actually like this is a film that is solely concerned with making you laugh. Mm-hmm. And it delivered. And I'm happy that this was actually, we were laughing a lot throughout the film. And that's what a comedy, I think, is supposed to do. And we weren't alone in laughing. Like, great bits. It's so committed to the bits. And I think it delivers all the way throughout. I mean, this is just, there's not much to say more than like, oh, this moment was funny. This moment was funny. But there also are these great leads. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson were fantastic in this movie. Like, whoa.
They were completely committed. And
Liam Neeson was awake for the first time in like years.
You could tell they were having a blast. Like they were going for it in every scene. It's a movie, like you said, it's just trying to get a laugh. At 1,000 laughs in a minute, if it can. Just goofy, silly, dumb gag after gag after gag. There's a particularly great extended sequence at a snowy cabin that just had me dying. I love it. It just had me dying with how stupid it was.
No, you were dying. I was like seeing you. You really couldn't control yourself. It was such an incredible. It was like a film within a film, because that's how long. By the way, that also ended up being something. Either executives or I think executives are trying to cut that from the movie.
Oh, what? Ridiculous.
It's like To me, it's like one
the
of
best part
it probably
of the film.
is. Honestly, it really is because it goes in places that you wouldn't expect it to. The song playing over it, like it's fantastic. The sequence where he has like 7 chili dogs and he has to go to the restroom. That got so much mileage out of that joke. I couldn't believe how it was like building and building and building.
Mm-hmm. It was just a funny film. Great time at the movies. Like you said, they don't release comedies and specifically romantic comedies and stuff like that in movie theaters as much anymore. They really should, because they're a vital part of the theatrical experience, and they used to be massive hits. I grew up during the time of
the 2000s. There'd be a rom-com or a comedy every week. There'd be a spoof movie, like thousands of spoof movies, millions of comedy movies. Like there's so many. And we left them in that decade because they haven't been out really at all in the last 15 years.
That was like the golden age of comedies, just because there were so many massive hits of comedy.
They would just crank them out, honestly.
Vince
Even
Vaughn,
if they weren't all that
Owen
good, people
Wilson,
would still have a good time. Yeah.
Adam Sandler,
Ben Stiller.
The Hangover was this massive cultural phenomenon. I remember being a kid.
Hey, maybe they're coming back a little bit at a time. I did see that they're making Meet the Parents 4 with Ariana Grande, I guess, playing Ben Stiller's daughter.
Meet the Parents was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
We'll see. It was just a good time. It's something I would highly recommend if you like funniness. I like to laugh, and it's a spoof movie, so it's all about the gags, and it's not bad spoof movies, because there's been a lot of bad spoof movies. They give the idea of spoof movies a bad name.
No, this is not a movie I would call. This is not like one of those movies where you turn off your brain, because it's actually quite witty. That's what makes it's clever,
It's something I would say you'd have to see twice, because as I was watching it, there was so many funny little gags like in the background that they don't really draw attention to, that are just kind of going on, and I noticed a couple of them.
It's like, David, you know how in Beetlejuice, which I also really liked a lot, but in Beetlejuice, we had Willem Dafoe's character constantly be handed coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They did this joke with Liam Neeson, but like times 1,000, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
Also, Paul Walter Hauser was in the movie too, and it was like we just saw him in Fantastic Four, which is like, oh, you're in this movie too. It's really interesting here. I love also the use of inner monologue sometimes, and the noir scores.
Oh yeah, they go full noir with it. LA noir. It's great. The seedy nightclub, the femme fatale. They do all the classic cliches.
By the way, is this a PG-13 movie or a PG movie?
That's another thing.
It's PG-13, but they get away with some things here that you wouldn't think. There's this one sequence where one of the villains is like looking at them through, I guess, night vision or whatever.
It's the Austin Powers gag. Yeah. It's great. But yeah, I was surprised it was PG-13. I guess I just assumed it would be R, but no.
Right.
They get away with a lot of great gags with it.
I mean, it opens with the camera looking up at Liam Neeson's bulge. It's the trailer shot that we've seen many times. So him wearing the skirt. So that's. I'm happy that it's doing well enough. I hope that the studio considers exploring maybe doing more of these. I hope other executives in studios are paying attention and listening, that maybe perhaps there is an audience out there to have these kind of movies back in the theaters. I mean, ultimately, we have to just remind ourselves, the studios did this to themselves. All of the major issues that they're caught in right now are of their own making. I mean, they're the ones that said, well, we can't make as many of these anymore. We'll just put them on streaming to support our streaming services. And that kind of bit you in the ass, because now people only seem to want those movies at home and not so much. Like, look how many people watched Happy Gilmore 2, which I'm sure was a terrible fucking movie, because Adam Sandler was just like, doing the usual thing where he'll just bring his friends, and there probably wasn't even a script. And how many people watched that because it was available at home? People love Happy Gilmore 1, but I'm sure it was awful. I'm like, well, go to the theater and you get a much better experience with The Naked Gun.
But again, that's why just going to what I had said about like with Spider-Man and those behind the scenes, I think it's important to just show people the difference, like the importance of films and movies, not just slop.
David, does this movie interest you?
Naked Gun? Yeah, I like the trailer.
These kind of movies?
Naked Gun, I like the trailer from the beginning, so I really want to watch it.
If you liked it, I think you'll watch. You should watch the movie because it was definitely, I think, to me, it's already like one of my favorites of the year. It's not the best movie in the world, obviously, but it's like it has really good gags that you keep thinking of. In the days that have come out. Okay, as we end the show today, I want to a couple more things here. Chris Stuckman has a movie coming out. It's called Shelby Oaks, and a trailer has come out for it. Have you guys seen it?
I have.
Because I was very creeped out. And it looks really it looks, didn't it? I'm like, okay, and this is one of those where I'm genuinely rooting for him. I'm like, please let this hit. And visually, anyway, it I don't know how much money he got. I didn't even realize Mike Flanagan was a producer on it. And thank you, Mike Flanagan, for putting your name on it. But I'm like, it definitely gave me the creeps, and there was some really effective visuals. Peter, your thoughts?
It looks creepy. It looks fun. It looks like it was made by someone with talent. I've been a big fan of Chris Stuckman for years. I've always loved his reviews, and he
over a decade at this point.
Unlike a lot of his contemporaries,
like Jeremy Johns, who is very much fallen into this. No, I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna name him because he has I think been maybe the most exposed to be somebody who is just doesn't have it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He gave a higher review to that, what was it? Mike Walsh? Am I racist movie? Than Superman.
The fact that he even chose to see it and review it at all, but then review it positively, I do think that probably says a lot about him. But Chris Stuckman to me has always been someone where his love for film and filmmaking has oozed through every single one of his videos, his reviews. He also did some other films where he broke down films. Really, really good videos.
That doesn't mean we always agree with him, and you should never agree with a critic all the way through. I mean, I think he's made some terrible reviews too on some things.
Oh, for sure. I don't agree, but
you should never agree with a critic the whole way through.
Yeah.
But I agree with you 100%. He is such a genuine guy, and in the last couple of years, he's he's shared more about his personal life and his upbringing, and he's truly, I think, a filmmaker. And I really am excited that he got this opportunity. I even saw that he went to Comic-Con and he had a panel for his movie. I'm glad there's some kind of support for the movie that's going to come out. Neon, I believe, is supporting it. Is it Neon?
But that's what I mean. That's why I feel it's pretty darn good, because I think he showed it at some festival. It got picked up by Neon.
Neon's got a great
clearly
track record.
Mike Flanagan liked it because he came in as a producer. I think after the movie was made, right? It was one of those kinds of things. So clearly, for the people that have seen it, they felt that it's good. So I'm really excited, and he's just someone that he's very easy to root for, I think.
Yeah. And horror always, I think this doesn't matter what the year is. There's always going to be good horror movies. We're going to go see Weapons soon, and apparently it's only the second. I'm not gonna go there with you, Peter. I'm not gonna go there with you. No, we were supposed to see it when we saw Naked Gun. He says he assumed, but that wasn't. We didn't do that because it hasn't been released yet. But anyway, Weapons is the second movie this year to debut with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's
had a good number of reviews at this point, like over 40, I think.
Yeah. So the trailer looked very good. And it's the same filmmaker as Barbarian. I think Barbarian was a very, very good horror movie. It's one of those where it was I didn't even realize what I was getting myself into when I was watching Barbarian. Then it kind of went places, and I'm like, and then halfway through, Justin Long comes in, and I'm like, what is going on here? So I'm excited for that movie as well. Peter, have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
No.
Okay.
I was watching King of the Hill.
Yeah, I had to assume that. So, the last couple of weeks, this is the last thing we're talking about today. The last couple of weeks, we have been talking about the success of the film, and it continues to reach new milestones. Apparently, K-pop Demon Hunters not only is now the most successful animated movie ever released on Netflix, but I think it's now the third or fourth most ever watched movie on Netflix ever. And since the time that we talked about it last time on the show, it's now going to be included in these new Netflix houses that they're going to be planning at some attractions that they're going to be making. But of course, they're already said it. We're already looking at K-pop 2 and 3 and already a live action remake ready to go. And listen, I think obviously sequels are going to come, and I think, yeah, they should obviously do that because this is a success. But one of the things that just has bothered me is that people don't really approach this like they do anything really with any kind of nuance. Let me ask you this question, Peter. Mm-hmm. Do you think, because I saw John Campea, and John Campea is another one of Chris Stuckman's contemporaries, but obviously one who I feel has not the best track record with opinions, but he felt strongly that K-pop Demon Hunters, that Netflix somehow left money on the table by not releasing it in theaters. I argue that K-pop Demon Hunters is only really as big as it is right now because of the fact that it was so easily accessible all at the same time throughout the whole world, and everybody was seeing it at the same time. Everybody was talking about it at the same time. Everybody was and it also has the K-pop music soundtrack, which is quite good, and people making their own content, and it's so easily available. I do not think for a second that if this had been released in theaters, it would have been anywhere near the sensation that it is right now. And people to think that, I think, is kind of foolhardy. What do you think about that?
It might be one of the few instances where you're correct. I'm not saying that as a dig at you. I'm saying hold on. I'm saying because most of the time what you're saying, the opposite is true. Most of the time you'll see great films that come out on streaming, and even if they get some attention, it's just nothing compared to what they would have gotten if they came out in theaters. I think you saw that with Knives Out, Glass Onion, where if they had released that in theaters and had a full-fledged genuine release, it would have had much more staying power than it did on Netflix, unfortunately. But every once in a while, I do think a project maybe genuinely just would not be as big if it hadn't first come out on streaming. And I think it has to do because it's K-pop, It's the kind of people that are into K-pop, I think, are Netflix.
They're very passionate. They're very passionate people.
The passionate K-pop crowd. Netflix bingers. I'll put it that way. I think it works in that way. So yes, I think, but 9 times out of 10, I do think it does go the other way, where even if it doesn't make that much money on theaters, it still is better for it to come out in theaters and will speak more to its longevity if it comes out in theaters.
Yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts are at too. And because it's on streaming, it's so rewatchable. David, obviously we agree with that because we've been saying that for weeks now. Just to talk about the film, I did get the chance to actually watch it. You did see it a couple of weeks ago. I thought the film was actually quite good. I thought it was very good in a lot of different areas. I think it excels on quite a number of certain things. But I do, and I'm really curious to see what Peter thinks about it when he sees it, but I do think there is kind of this big thing, this big flaw for me that kind of prevents it from being a great film, in that it kind of seems to not throw the message out the window for the sake of a climactic, beautiful action sequence, but it's a very muddled conclusion, and it left a lot to be desired for me anyway, where it leaves some of the characters, and I can't help but wonder if I was that by design?
Yeah. The one thing I heard was that I think it was originally a much longer film.
That makes sense, because I literally said this needed like an extra 30 minutes.
From what I heard, it was closer to 3 hours.
That I would love a version of that.
Cut it down.
I would
Netflix, if look, Netflix, release the extended cut right now and bank on that. Do it.
This is one of the situations where business wise, I would say it's in their favor because it's already such a hit. You could say special extended version, and I think you would get those clicks. Like financially, it is good to release that version.
Put it in theaters. I think
I don't know about put it in theaters, but releasing it straight to Netflix, I think would work fine.
Either way, I mean, like, ultimately, if you were going to do that, you can double, quadruple down on the viewership you're already getting, get more profit out of it with streaming, fine. But like, if there really is an extended cut, that would make a lot of sense because a lot of the problems I think come from that. I do feel like maybe it was my expectation in part, but I did want more from. I do wish it was more of an ensemble. I do like the main character, and I like the main character from the boy band group, but there are all these other characters here too that I think needed more. We didn't get really all that much focus on them, which is why I think David says we need like at least 30 more minutes out of it. But at the same time, there's this thing that happens at the end where the main character kind of like, we need this new order, but we don't really. She doesn't make it clear, and the movie doesn't make it clear what that new order is. It just seems like the same thing all over again, but now just my way of doing it. Right? Like it wasn't all that clear, and it also, especially with like, it may be one of these situations where like, and I haven't decided yet, I need to watch it again, how much of a deal breaker it is for me. I mean, I really like the movie. It is so much fun watching this movie, because it has a lot of anime inspiration, obviously, but the music is incredible, the way the animation flows. There's a lot of things to praise about the film, don't get me wrong, but I do think it may have sacrificed its best executed messaging in favor of a badass, kick-ass action sequence. I think that's kind of what happened.
These movies, where they have speaking of comic book stuff, that's what I felt happened with Wonder Woman, where they kind of have a theme or an idea they're going with, but it's a movie, it's a big production, we gotta have something more spectacle. I don't know.
I was thinking, yeah, you go ahead.
No, I'm saying I haven't seen the movie, so I have no idea of even whether I would agree with you or not. But I have felt that about some movies in the past, so I imagine maybe I would. I don't know.
David, you seem to feel the same way though as I do about this.
No, yeah, for sure. It's been the main complaint I've been hearing in a lot of people's reviews. It's just like
So people have been talking about this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw a reaction of one, and the dude was just like, "This feels abrupt. Like, how do we get here? I think it would have been cool if we just ended it in the line where the main character says it's like, we'll build a new one or something, or that's why we had tear it down or something like that, and then just ended the movie there. That would have been freaking sick." But then, yeah, you have all these other things. I don't mind if they sideline the rest of the boy band. I don't mind if it's just to focus on the main guy. But the other two girls, though, I think should have gone more.
They don't get enough here.
They don't get
They don't get enough as I thought I wanted them to be here, honestly.
Especially with the main character. Like, there's, I don't know, two different things about her character that just doesn't get much information about. And I want to say maybe if they made a sequel, they'll, put more effort.
I was going to say that, David. Do you think maybe, because it feels almost like the ending was maybe changed because they knew they were going to have more story? Because it seems like they leave a lot of things up in the air where they can, like, do we really believe that character is gone? Because like there's something of a sacrifice that happens, and I'm like,
no, I mean, I think that character is gone, but in terms of like the main girl and her backstory, there's still a lot you can go into. And they mentioned that there's someone within her past that may still be on Earth. So
yeah,
I'm just, Yeah, maybe they might have cut it down to leave it off for a sequel. The thing though is they shouldn't have brought it up in the first place. Kind of leave it open ended as to why the main character is the way that she is, and then in the sequel bring up the fact this is why.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, everything else about the film is honestly kind of great. Like, the animation is sensational. Sony Animation's delivering, really firing here. The way the characters interact and move, the colors that are used, like, it's great. The songs too. I honestly think the songs are really that good. With as far and they, even though it is a film about, like, this girl band, all of the songs are about the story happening. So it really is a musical. Mm-hmm. It's like an action musical. So it kind of has a little bit of a Wicked vibe there too, because of they're using the songs to advance the action here. But to be fair, I think this is way better than Wicked, to be clear about that. But I do wonder about that ending. And for me, at the end of the day, I feel that kind of prevents me from caring about the movie as much as I think I should have. I think to me, it was like, oh my God, we almost got there. And then this happens and I'm like, and then also to hear there was more movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I release it, Netflix, release the 3-hour cut. People are going to watch it. Like, this is the real standard cut. And people are actually going to watch it.
I was about to say that. I was like, if you could do that with Rebel Moon, you can do it with this. Come on.
They did that with Rebel Moon?
Yeah, they did. The difference is there seems to actually be like a fan base for this.
For K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already talking about a live action remake.
But if it's on Netflix, it's gonna look ugly as shit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The live action remake can look ugly as shit no matter what. But the thing is, I even saw John Campea say that he shudders to think how much better a lot of these action scenes are gonna look like in live action. And I'm like, you fool. You already saw the best way this could look like. It never looks better in live action.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It never looks better.
I don't think there's ever been a situation where it's like, it looks better. I think there's a coolness factor to looking at things and go like, oh my God, it's real. Like, it's cool to see. We're talking about Spider-Man, swinging on that set. There's something really cool to go like, oh my God, it looks like Spider-Man is real. But the best Spider-Man action is in those animated Spider-Man films. The best Spider-Man swinging is in those, Spider-Verse films. It's never necessarily better, I think, when they kick it to the live action.
Yeah, but I think it also, to be fair though, it's very easy to see, and I got it almost immediately why people were loving this movie. It is a very fast-paced film. There's so much happening with the animation. The characters themselves are quite likable. The music, which may be the biggest factor here, is very quite Gen good. Z. Like, basically. I mean, I think the same people who went crazy over Encanto and Wicked are going to be crazy about this, because guess what? Musical fans are pretty freaking passionate, as we've seen. Like, although I do wonder though if this is just gonna encourage Disney to like think to themselves, see, this is why original movies in animation only now belong on streaming and not in theaters. That's my fear. That they're already like, okay, well that's that. And then of course it'll be reinforced when Zootopia 2 comes out in November and makes $1 billion.
See, this is where I think Disney has the right idea. Where it's like, hey, it was a hit on streaming. Fuck, we should have put it in theaters. It would have made more money. That's where I do think they have the right mindset now, anyway.
It just, I agree with you there. It's just a shame that all the movies that are applicable to what you just said
were bad.
Yeah, because we're talking about Freakier. I mean, I don't know about Freakier Friday. I don't know if it's good or bad. I haven't seen it. But Lilo and Stitch falls into that category. The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to fall into that category of like, although and it sucks because there were better stories that should have been on the screen, like Falcon and Winter Soldier or the Obi-Wan show. Like those should have been movies and not shows, and they always just like, it's so frustrating talking about movies, isn't it, guys? Like it's just, it can never be perfect, but hey, at least we can find I genuinely really liked K-pop and it brought me a lot of joy, and I'm happy that there are movies. I think I'm going to close this podcast is like, I'll say this, 2024 was kind of like a doom and gloom year. I thought that year was the fewest amount of movies I've seen in a year because it just didn't, and a lot of the successes were like kind of depressing, but 2025, I think is becoming a sleeper year where like most of everything that we've seen has been pretty decent to pretty good. Even the projects that necessarily were not like hyped up all that much, I was like, it's pretty good. Like I saw Novocaine, pretty good. I saw Naked Gun, pretty good. So I'm like, hey, this may be so far, even the big releases. I mean, there was a good what's it called, Karate Kid movie that people really liked and got good reviews for. So here's hoping that trend continues, and I'm just like, yeah, I really do hope that people are taking advantage of it. It's what I have noticed, and maybe it's just me, but maybe you have noticed this too, Peter, but like, I don't know. It feels to me that I've been seeing a lot more people at the movies lately than I was seeing even last year.
I definitely think it's better than last year. I think last year was particularly bad when it comes to, especially like the big tentpole films. Yeah.
And that could be the COVID effect, and also could be the strikes really coming into full swing.
Yeah,
the effect of the strikes.
There's
and the
years
lack of content
reverberation.
Well, there's the COVID pandemic. There's the strikes, but I would say most importantly, that's not at all discussed, which is what we began the show with: the mergers, the nonstop mergers that just make less and less films from being made in the first place. All that came together, and we got 2024 because of that.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
So then, my friends, I think we're going to go ahead and end it off here today. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Red Spotlight here. We enjoyed talking about films. I'm very happy that, I think this is going to be one of our final episodes of the summer. The summer is about to come to a close. And so far, despite a lot of the, cataclysmic, horrendous stories that keep coming out, throughout the world, we end here with a pretty bright spot, and there are some pretty good and decent movies out there, and we would hope that you would go and give them a chance, because ultimately, if there's any thesis to what we do here on this show, is that we want to encourage people to, broaden your horizons and go and watch more movies, even movies that you think you wouldn't necessarily be up your alley. You don't know until you try it. Peter was really the reason why I love horror movies now. That's a genre that I avoided at all costs, and now I'm a big fan of it. And we're gonna go watch Weapons pretty soon, and
I'm really looking forward to Weapons. That's gonna be great.
And there's still a lot of movies left this year to come out that I think are gonna be heavy hitters too. So it's like, even as we're talking about it just now in these last few minutes, yeah, this is definitely a much better rounded year when it comes to movies coming out. So I'm glad that at least that's happening, and I'm also happy that not every movie is bombing, and that there are actually a pretty good amount of movies that are actually making money at the box office, and that's really good.
It's not bomb after bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that. Stay under our Red Spotlight for more content and more, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.